will just respectfully decline the offer.
Both the private sector and individual have roles to play as far as employment-related issues are concerned. Take the private sectors, for example. Private sectors, or private sector rather, not sectors. The private sector have they have to help to drive the public sectors in every area where it is failing. I give you a very good example. In the ongoing pandemic, the government of Nigeria has not been able to take to life any vaccine. Not because there are no researchers, not because there are no research institutes, but there were other factors that go into that space to make it happen. One of it is funding of research. We have to start changing the orientation of people. There is the mentality of quick wealth all around, all over the whole place, which is why a whole lot of young people are involved in Yahoo, in code, and all other things. And when you speak with them, they tell you, oh, it's because there are no jobs. That's why I have to go that way. But in the real sense, there is a due paying process period when people are supposed to commit to a job or a role or a work or a vocation and learn the ropes, become experts.
Everybody has a skill. Yeah. But it's just sacrificing the time and creating the time in making that thing grow in you.
When we talk about vocational trainings, right, I've come just like you said, not like white collar jobs is not for everyone. I mean, we've come to realize that. At the moment at Jobberman, we are in partnership with the MasterCard Foundation. We are upskilling about 5 million. Well, the mandate is 5 million young Nigerians over 5 years, right, and place 3 million of them in work. And of the 3 million of them that we are upskilling, some of the things that have come up is the importance of gig work, the importance of internship. So it's not just having a full-time employment, but having dignified employment, right? And blue-collar jobs also fall under dignified employment. However, because of the country that we're in, a lot of blue-collar jobs are not regarded as dignified, right? So you go anywhere outside the country, so maybe the developed world, and you have like a plumber, you have like a carpenter, and they are regarded and they are respected, right? However, in Nigeria, you have carpenters, you have plumbers, and most times those professions, although not white collar, are not regarded, right? So what we really would love to do is to make these blue collar jobs dignified. And how do we make them dignified? By teaching these people, or teaching people who are going through vocational trainings, the necessary skills that will make them stand out. So yes, white collar jobs are not the only answer when it comes to employment. Blue collar jobs as well are our answer to unemployment.
After all said and done, changing the public perception that white-collar jobs are the only dignified form of labor may just be a start in the eradication of the stigma of unemployment. More people are building businesses from their talents, passions, and hobbies.
Right, my name is Terietta Precious. I am an event planner, a cake specialist. I'm also a natural juice specialist as well. I deal with fruits and I try to make people live healthy lives. And business is just pretty starting up, like coming back, resuscitating after a very long break of like 5 years. And that happened because I got trafficked, and the connection came through my friend. So how it all started, so after school, I started baking even before I left secondary school. And so when admission was taking so long, and I was really eager to go back to school and all, so I started doing events, started serving at parties, following vendors to events, and I started liking the job because I'm kind of like talented in the arts. So everything event looked like fun and work for me. So I decided to build a career in that, irrespective of going back to school. And then I started training up. I naturally just have recipes in my head for cakes, and maybe when I wake up, I'll go write out what I saw either in my dream or what I thought about, and when I try it out, it always comes out nice. So my mom encouraged me to build up that career too, and that it was going to be a fruitful one. So at that point, there's this friend of mine that we kind of like, she's a bit older than I am, but we kind of like grew up together. She was always there for me because I had a child immediately after school. She was always there for me, always helping me out. So she said, since school wasn't working, then we should just venture into business. And looking at it that I was the first of 5 kids and I already had a child, school might be a little bit tight at that moment because my parents were really well to do, my mom actually, and because my parents are separated. So we used to make ice blocks and ice cubes together. We make ice blocks, we make ice. She was the one working there. So, but after her normal daily job, we now go in the evenings. So we had to take permission from her boss first. So we go in the evenings, we make ice blocks and ice cubes. We take to bars, restaurants, clubs, and most weekends when we get jobs as well, we get to supply ice blocks for events. So it started making me meet people. I started coming out more often, and people started liking my kind of person, like you're very intelligent. So sometimes my friend would just say, come, let's go to so place. She might not say anything, but we are certain that we're not living there without a new job to do almost every weekend. So it made me see that becoming very outgoing, and I did meet lots of people. So I knew that I was only going to do that for a short while. And then on one of the occasions, we had a very long discussion, and she was like, she's just going to be here for the meantime. She was really building that up for me to like find a basis for me to start my event management career. And I took it that she was doing me a really good favor. So not too long from then, she introduced me to a friend who brought a job, and they wanted me to plan a particular event. It was going to be an opening, which I did, and it was fine. It came out well. It was quite big, so for me it was like a major big job for me, and I was happy at the pace at which I was, pulling up the shirts, and they were really looking perfect. So one of the guys who attended the event, a friend to the convener of the event, to the owner of the event, was like, whoa, I like your industrious, I like your person, you're smart, you're outspoken, and you know how to do almost everything and do it well. Like, how do you do it? And I was like, well, it's just me, that's just the way I am. And he got really interested, and we exchanged contacts, started talking, and sometimes he just calls me, hey babe, what's up? What's your plan for the weekend? Any event? And I'll be like, yes. And they're like, okay, drop location. He'll just come around, just come and check up, like to see what's up, and always commenting, always checking up on me. So for me, I felt it was like a good thing to just have someone who you've not known from Adam, you know, become close, check up on you, and they're after your progress. And after like about 6 to 8 months of that constant checkup, he then just dropped the suggestion one day, like, he doesn't know how I'm going to see this, but there's a traveling opportunity, and he feels this should be the intern for me, since I already have plans to further education. Already I had started NCE. I was in my 200 level. I started NCE, but it was a bit tight. So most times when it's like that, he's always like one of the people I call, like, what's up, I'm having challenges with fees, or my friend and a couple of other friends will be like, every time you have to call me either for fees or for feeding or one thing or the other. I feel this is an opportunity for you. If you can take it up, you should go to Malaysia. You're going to be working in the hair factory, because at that point, apart from making cakes and planning events, I just got talented with playing around weave-ons, and then I just started making wigs even without even knowing that wig was going to become something that's going to be in vogue. So when they saw it and they're like, this is really beautiful, like, how did you come about this? I don't know, I just see things and I do them. So he said that this is really good. So if you're going to a company where you're going to be working with attachment, weave-ons, and then you could get another job where you can work in a restaurant, maybe as a pastry chef or as an assistant baker, where you can shuffle in between both duties, make cool cash, and say in about 6 months you must have saved up enough. And then I was like, I don't have money. I know traveling out now, most especially going to Malaysia now, should cost so much. And it was like, no, that even if I don't have cash, I shouldn't worry about it. I'm like, how are you going to do that? And he was like, I should just leave all of that for him, that all he needs from me is my consent that I'll be willing to go. I said, but not without you telling me how you're going to go about it. And then he did explain that there are agents who are into traveling, and they help people travel either to go to school or to work. But then if you do not have money, there are people who are like investors, and what they do is to invest their money on you to travel. And then when you get to your post country, you start working, maybe like your first 3, 4, 5 months working, your salary will be used to pay them back whatever they have spent on you, but though it will be maybe either multiplied or there'll be an addition. And then he was like, I think if you are that hardworking, this shouldn't be a problem for you. So I sat down and thought about it, like, okay, so how much are we looking at here? And then he did a plus or minus $3,500 then, and then if I was going to pay back, I was going to be paying back like $7,000, and I was like, okay, how much are we talking about in Naira? He did the conversion, and then he did made me understand that I shouldn't even look at that money, that I'm going to be getting dinars, and that dinars is way higher than Naira. So, and he was like, don't worry, this is like the best opportunity for you. I know you're strong, I know you're hardworking, and you're very fun to be with. People love to be around you, so definitely you're going to make good friends who would even give you stipends, and you probably might not just have to pay back with all your hard-earned money. So the idea was to go work and come back to set up better or to finish up school so I can get a job. And I was like, okay, sounds good. And then he said he was going to, if I was ready, then he will now tell me the remaining processes. But then I have to look for like 4 extra people to make us 5. I was like, okay. And so these, my other friends, they also know this, my particular friend, Mary, that introduced me to the agent. So somehow, you know, there's no how now, friends, girls will definitely meet. And I really don't remember how my other friends got to know, but they also got to know about the traveling because he also became friends with them. But because anybody can meet anybody anywhere, I didn't really try to know exactly how they also met this same person. But then the other thing I remember was that we were all talking about this whole traveling thing, and my other friends were like, they were ready, 2 sisters and 2 of their friends, so we're 5 of us. And then we started talking about it, so they were like, we're going to get at least 50K first. The 50K was supposed to be for like our passport and some other little things that we would need right here before moving, but the traveling expenses was going to be covered by the investor, the invisible investor. So I for like a month we were on it, trying to get cash, running around, and several times they did say we're going to meet one person tomorrow. They could just call up today and say, okay, we're meeting the main travel agents tomorrow, we're meeting this tomorrow, and then we go. So they asked us to bring passports, pictures, so we should come for medical tests and all that. So on the day we went to Ikorodu to meet this other set of guys. That was the day we met a magician. So he is also part of the crew. Then the magician happens to be the transporter. So he did mention that when it comes to things like this, that he normally advises young ladies not to tell anyone, and that the reason why he would tell them not to tell anyone is because they will definitely discourage you the moment you tell them someone is paying for your traveling. That families don't believe that somebody anywhere can just decide to pay for you to travel, go work and come back. So at some point he actually did some magic. So he said he was going to show us what he does for a living in Malaysia, and that he had just come back, but he has decided to rest. He wants to stay back in Nigeria to take care of his family, and that this is what he does for a living in Malaysia and some other countries where he goes to. And then he brought out stuff, sand, salt, handkerchief. Then he did turn the sand into, he did turn salt into sand, and then turned the salt again into a bird. So seeing that, we, it just blew us out kind of. And he also said that if we wanted to really go and we were certain that we were not going to tell anyone, we needed to like swear an oath and all of that. So they were going to make some concussion with new notes. So all of this is just to be secure that we're not going to be telling anybody. And at that point I was really not very down with everything, but one thing just kept sticking in my mind, which is, as far as I'm going to make myself better, as far as I'm not going to be leaning or calling or having to trouble family and all of that. And it was an opportunity for me to at least like do something tangible for myself. So I didn't really see anything, though I had doubts. I had very big doubts. So after that, they said they were going to let us know when we'll be leaving and how we will be leaving. We don't need to take anything, maybe just a bag or just maybe like a pair or 2 pairs of clothes, that when we get somewhere, we'll be going for shopping, we'll get clothes, and we'll get every necessary thing that we needed. So initially, when he started mentioning that you don't have to tell anyone, so for me, I found it very difficult that, okay, I'll be leaving my child for my mom and I won't be able to describe to my mom where exactly I'm going to or what I'm going there to do. And why would someone say, it's supposed to be a good news. So why would someone else say, don't tell your family, because they probably will not like the sound of it or they will discourage you. For me, I feel that should be a good news and you should share. So, but he made us to believe that when you do that, they will discourage you and you might end up missing an opportunity of a lifetime. And another thing that got me thinking was the fact that he did mention that a lot of girls do go and they come back, they get to do big things for themselves. He also mentioned that apart from working in salons, restaurants, that some people go there to hustle. So when I heard the word hustle, I actually did ask, like, what's the meaning of hustle? And it was like, regular hustle now. I'm like, no, the way that word sounds to me, the way you're saying it, looks like there's a different meaning to hustle. And then he now expatiated and said, some girls do go there just to go and work in brothels and come back. I'm like, okay. So hearing that started making me think, like, okay, does it mean that there is something he's not saying? So then I now asked clearly, what exactly are you taking me to this country to go and do? He now asked, what did you tell your friend you want to do? I said, no, I didn't tell him. He suggested that since I am good in these areas, so I can work in a restaurant and then also work in a hair factory. And he was like, so that is what you are going to do? So I said, okay, and waited for the day they were going to call. So on the day he called, that's the initial guy that told me about the traveling opportunity. He called and said, okay, so get ready by next week. We are moving by next week Sunday. It was supposed to be a Sunday. I said, okay, no problem. And then on getting to Ikorodu, I found out that my other friends weren't there. So I asked, what's up, what happened with the other friends? And it was like, they couldn't come up with even money for their passports, which was 50K. I was like, oh, because I saw one of them that morning and I was like asking her, babe, how far? She was like, that she's not sure that she's going. That's the one that has a sister. And that again, that their mom told them that it's not a good journey, that they shouldn't go. And that if she would advise me that I shouldn't go, for their mom to say it's not a good journey, I was like, why at the dying minute? So to me at that point, I just thought that, okay, maybe this is why these guys were always saying don't tell anybody. So I just went because I'd already packed my bag. So I went to Ikorodu, and then on getting to Ikorodu, we passed the night in Ikorodu. They said we were waiting for 2 other people to join us, and the next day he took us to Agbara. On getting to Agbara, it's a lady's house, and I met the owner of the house and about 3 other ladies. So he said, so this is the person that is your real travel agent. She's the one that is paying for you. She's the one that is helping you to travel to the person who sent money to her. And I said, okay. So what I told my mom when I was going to leave, I told her that I was traveling and that it was going to take me maybe like 6 or 8 months to come back. And she was like, what kind of a travel is that, and why are you staying so long? So I told her that it's a friend that is helping me out, and I really do not have to do so much just to pay for my passport. So she was even the one that even gave me like 35K out of the 50K that I gave those guys. And when I explained to her that it's a friend, and she already knows the guy. So the guy, as in, became very close. During one of our school parties, my mom's school party, he actually came around. He comes, like, everybody now knew him. So when I mentioned his name and my mom, okay, she didn't see a reason to question, because this is someone that everybody has come to know very well. So she was like, okay. So that day I told her was the day she gave me the money. And she was like, okay, if you say that is what you want to do. But then she now asked what I was going to do about my school. So I said, already I had missed the exam for that semester. And I already had missing exams from the previous semester. So when I come back, I'll sort it out. So she was like, okay, if that is what you want. But then she wasn't really like okay with it. She kept asking questions upon questions and questions upon questions. I'm like, at least you know the person that is actually working on this for me. So if there is anything, you can always ask him. So that was the last conversation I had with my mom. And at that time, there was a very big issue in the house. I was not in good terms with my stepdad and my mom. We had issues. So for me, it was just, I'd had it to the truth and I wanted to just leave the house. So, and that was it. And I left. So my mom asked, so how are we going to be feeding this child? How are we going to be doing this? How are we going to be that? I told her not to worry, that at each point, I would always know what to do. So she didn't really bother me so much about the child because she was still little, she was just 5. At least she would be able to still feed her and do some other things. So that was how I left my daughter with my mom and left. So on getting to that house, seeing 3 other ladies and then the lady in question that owns the house, she was like, okay, so first she gave me rules that I was not comfortable with, and no talking to anybody, you're on your own here, this is just you and your destiny, like it's just you and your destiny here, no friendship, the only business you're here for is for you to be taken to the country where you're going to. She too, she just came back, she's going to be joining us like in a month's time and all. So she said we're moving in 3 days. So in 3 days nothing was happening, and then I was forced to ask questions like, I've been here for 3 days, nobody's going anywhere, what's happening? So she was like, we're waiting for 2 more people. I'm like, that was the same thing these guys said the last time, they're waiting for 2 more people, you're also saying the same thing. So she almost snapped out like, I'm questioning her too much, I'm pestering and this and that, and that I should just take her word when she says we're waiting for 2 more people, or if I was the one that was going to pay the money. So I kept quiet. So that day was a day to my birthday that year, March 2nd. So I felt, okay, since I'm still around, let me just go home. So I went home, saw my mom, saw everyone, just got stuff. So my birthday, that was on my birthday, I went home, and felt like my mom was like, what happened, you've not gone? And like, we're waiting for 2 more people. And then my mom now aired out like, are you sure this thing is really genuine, and are you sure that you're not doing the wrong thing? She kept asking questions. So she asked me to call the guy that night so that she can confirm from him. So but I called that night, his number wasn't going through. I told her that I didn't want to stay too long so that I can get back home, get back there on time, and that was how I left. So 2 days after, we were ready, and the lady asked her brother to take us to the park. So already, while the magician guy was talking to us a few days earlier, he had mentioned that we were going to go by road to an extent, and that the reason we're going by road to an extent is to avoid wahala from immigration and all of that. And to me, I was just wondering, but why are you trying to avoid these people if this is genuine? But I couldn't really ask too much questions. So he said we're going to go by road to a particular extent. So when the guy said we're going to the park, it took us to a park at Yanopaja, and then we entered Kano. So I now asked, why are we going to Kano? Then he said, that's the first place we are going to. That's where I will meet the people that will now take us to where we're going to. So at this point, we're 4 ladies and the guy. So he stayed with us at the park till the bus was full, and we moved. So right there at the park, there were 2 ladies in the same bus behind us, and I noticed they were murmuring to each other. I tried eavesdropping. At that point, my Yoruba wasn't really fluent, but I can understand little by little. So I tried eavesdropping to maybe just hear something, because I became very worried. Like, am I sure I really want to continue? I can't just go back home from here and just run away. So I started looking at a means at which I can maybe even just abscond from this guy's hand. But you know, he was seated right opposite us. So even if I come down from the bus now, he's definitely going to see me. So at a point, I acted like I wanted to go buy something, and then I noticed that he was walking behind me, and I was like, okay, so this guy is watching me, I can't run away. So at a point, I just waved the thought of running away and felt like, as far as I'm going for a good cause, let me just go and do what I got to do and come back home. So we left. Getting to Kano, I was on my phone at that point, and the lady did mention to me that when I get to Kano, she gave me a particular number. when I get to Kano, or if we are being stopped on the way, or maybe we're being arrested or hijacked on the way by any of the security officials, that we should call the particular number. So at the point where I think it was NDLEA that stopped us, and they were like, where are we going to? And to me, I just said, they said when they asked us, we should tell them we're going to Kano. And if they ask us, who are we going to meet in Kano, we should mention a particular name, which was what we did. And they did let us go. So getting there, I called the number, the man did come and asked us to stay somewhere, and picked us, took us somewhere else. And I was like, okay, so what next? And then he said, he now mentioned the lady's name. She wasn't that sent us to him, right? I said yes. So he told us, yeah, enter the car. And he drove off. So we drove for like 3 hours. Getting to where we were, to me it was like, why are we here? This place is looking deserted and all. So I started looking out. I remember looking out and I saw Sabongeri while we were driving. I saw Sabongeri. And I remember that at some point I heard about Sabongeri before, and I remember it being like an outskirt of Kano or so, thereabouts. So I was like, okay, but why are we going this far? I couldn't really ask the man questions because he wasn't even going to answer. And from there, they hipped us. The place he took us to, we met some other women and men there. And they wouldn't even allow you to see anything. They were just pushing everybody in. People must not see us and all that. So they, like a hut, like it was a small hut and there were people around. So they were trying to hide us. So at that point, I started becoming very scared, because why are you hiding us? Why are we having to rush into somewhere? You don't want people to know we are here. If they know we are here, they're going to come and take us away or something.
Businesses in Africa can be very challenging. In Nigeria, it is particularly intimidating, and successful builders have learned how to navigate a hostile environment to unlock opportunities. But one major challenge businesses face is how to filter through the noise and identify where their ideal customers exist. Get insight and practical steps from industry players and captains of industries. Hear success stories to help you make informed decisions as you scale your business in Nigeria. Watch Business Insights at this time on Plus TV Africa.
Minding your mannerisms in public signals civility. Your behavior determines how others perceive you, and if you can leave a good impression, why not?
When it comes to that, it's about really making sure that you don't do something that will make people upset. So let me give you a typical example, public toilet, right? You want to walk into that washroom nice and clean. And at the same time, you want to leave it clean for someone else to use it like that. But what you find is that some people use it haphazardly. They don't care about who's coming in next. And of course, people are disgruntled by the way the place is dirty, not kept well. And of course, we have a problem there, health and hygiene, right? That's a public place. When you think about the airplane, for example, same thing as well. You are on the plane and you have children, and the children are making a whole lot of noise. You're disturbing the elderly people and other people who are sharing the same space with you. So when you're on the plane, you have to be mindful of other people that are going to be using it. So even when you're sitting down, it's a confined space, right? So you don't want to disturb other people. You want to make sure that you have a smooth ride without upsetting anyone while you're in that public space. What about when you're at the cinema as well? You know, a cinema is a place where, and a library, where you have to keep quiet. You don't want someone to keep telling you, shh, shh. What does that mean? You're not supposed to use your phone when you're in such places, like a library, for instance. Then you're in the supermarket as well. A whole lot of things. And many places where people are, I won't say maybe ignorant of other people, right? They think they're in their home. So you're in a reception in a restaurant, or you're in the reception of a hotel. You're not going to put your feet on the desk or on the table as if, and you're watching the TV as if you're in your sitting room, right? So people wouldn't like that. I've seen cases where some people are in they're in the not waiting room. There's a public place where you can sit down in a hotel, right? And some people have taken off their shoes, put their feet on the table, and their hand behind them, they're watching the news and like, hey, this is not your sitting room. You don't do things like that. Then when you talk about dining environments, you're in a restaurant. I have literally seen people, and I've done videos on it as well, where they've given you a napkin, it's for your hands. Wipe your hands down because you're about to eat. Then guess what happens? You see them using the same napkin to wipe their face, to wipe their hair. I've seen them do this. I'm like, oh, this is not the bathroom. So it's really about perception and how you want people to see you when you're in a public place.
When in the public, it is important to be courteous and respectful of others. You might not always know the rules, but if you make a genuine effort to be considerate of others with the intent not to disturb them, the conscious effort would show.
For me, I would love to see an environment where when we see something that is not right, we correct. I've done that severally, and I'm brave enough to do that. And most times when I finish speaking to the person says sorry, because maybe at the time they were doing it, they didn't realize how bad it was and the consequences to another person. But most times you find that they are truly sorry because it just didn't come down to that.
The rules of behavior when we're in public vary from culture to culture.
If you've ever been to Singapore and you're in a public train or any public environment, you're not allowed to chew chewing gum. And they made it a law. And so now people are very conscious. Don't chew chewing gum, you get fined, you can be imprisoned. So they've made it part and parcel of their life.
However, culture is an ever-evolving phenomenon that changes as the needs of the people changes. We all have rights, but it has limitations where the exercise of your rights begins to infringe on the rights of others. Behaviors such as playing music or videos loudly on your phone in public, receiving calls loudly in public places, or even blowing horns arbitrarily can be seen as offensive. Here are some common etiquette to take note of in public. Offer up your seat. If you're in perfectly good health, offer your seat to anyone who is either in poor health or pregnant. Make commuting easier for those who need it. Let the waiter come to you. Never yell or wave your hand at a waiter while dining. Make their job easier by being patient or politely get their attention when they pass by. Know your audience. Be aware of who's around before engaging in hot topics. Respecting people's sensibilities is the proper way to behave. Make sure to tip. Tipping is essential for certain employees to make a decent income. Make sure to leave a tip as a token of your gratitude whenever possible. Even services you might not think of, like a haircut or dog grooming. Say excuse me. It's the polite thing to do when you bump into someone. Even if you're not really the one to blame, why not just avoid conflict and brush off the situation?
Good morning, you're welcome to The Breakfast on Plus TV Africa. My name is Rome Paulson.
And my name is Nyamgul Agaji. Welcome to a brand new day, and we're glad you're having breakfast with us this morning.
That's right, it's Tuesday the 18th of February 2025, and interestingly, today is Travel Africa Day. So you need to explore Africa, your continent. So even if you can't go to, the United States of America, or you can't go to the UK or anywhere else, or explore what your continent has to offer, and Africa is really, really beautiful.
Yeah, Benin Republic, you can go on foot in case you're saying you cannot have visa or you cannot have one thing or the other. Once you are in Badagry, you're just a walk away from Benin Republic, and you might see it as being funny, but when you step into another country, the diversity or the difference will hit you so much so that you would know that just staying in one place doesn't give you the requisite experience to say that you have really lived your life.
Yeah.
So you just go out there. Whatever place is affordable for you, just go there. It doesn't have to be, like you said, USA, Canada, or the rest of those places. Africa has got a lot to offer. There are places you can go on canoe, on boats.
I think traveling is so important, because what traveling does to you is that it sharpens your mind, right? When you go into a different space, you get to understand why they are the way they are. You get to see their culture. You get to taste their food. Something different, something that is totally out from what you're used to, from your comfort zone. And then when you come back, for some weird reason, you find yourself refreshed. You find yourself that you find out that you have something new to even share with the people that you're coming from. And it is super important that everyone just tries to travel. I know that the budget in Nigeria
it doesn't have to be
so it doesn't have to be so expensive. Exactly, because there are places, there's plateau, there's so many places in Nigeria that you can visit. There's Obudukato Ranch, for instance. But what we're just saying is make sure that you're exploring Africa today, since it's Travel Africa Day. And coincidentally, it is Pluto Day, but we're not telling you to go to Pluto anyway. And then Pluto has about 6.37 the size of the Earth. Can you imagine that? Anyways, let's get straight into the breakfast show. On today's breakfast show, we'll be looking at several hot topics, one of which is, Sharia panel in Southwest Park controversy. Much later in the show, we'll be discussing the fact that there's been 100 days in office for Okwebelo's administration, and we're reviewing the renewing hope in Edo State. We'll also be taking global stories that made it to the front pages of our national dailies, as well as some top trending stories. But first, let's see our outfits of the day. And our quote says, don't become a slave to technology. Manage your phone. Don't let it manage you. And that is according to Richard Branson. He is the founder of Virgin. And he says this morning, don't become a slave to technology. Manage your phone. Don't let it manage you. It's so sad that in this era of social media and all of that, everybody, I think our phones manage us. Because you wake up in the morning, before you even brush your teeth, before you even pray, you're already on your phone. Oh, what's the latest? What's the new thing? And I would not lie, I'm also, part of that bandwagon. But every day you're striving to be better, and you have to understand that, you can subject your mind to what you want it to be. So don't let your phones or technology overtake you. Still have that human connection. Because a lot of times, most people would rather just send a text or make a phone call and say, you know what, I've connected with all of my friends and my family. But how about you go the extra mile? How about you take them to lunch? How about you visit? You just spend time, even the hugs, hugs does something.
Lunch.
Oh my goodness. Hugs do something to you. So it's important that we're not just fixated on technology. I know that technology has come to assist, it has come to aid certain things, because imagine someone living in the US now, and before I probably couldn't communicate with them. But now that I have a mobile phone, I can do that. It's easy for me. But do not let it overtake your entire life, whereby everything that you do is on social media. You're not even thinking of spending time with the people that you love. Human connection, super important.
Yeah, the generations are changing. In our time, I can boldly say that we used to have what we call diaries, where we wrote our secrets. Now the secrets of those things that we wrote in diaries and called them secrets are on social media. Your marriage is on social media. You did one funny thing is on social media and all that. But let's not give it another name. It is called addiction. If you are so fixated, you cannot do without your phone. It's called addiction, just like drug addiction, sex addiction, all the addictions you can think about. So if you call it by its name, maybe you know the danger of it and what it is doing to you. And, I just did a random study. Some people are doing 100 days fasting, which I think is unnecessary anyway, but that's a story for another day. And I was asking them, what are you fasting from? That
I was just about to say
it doesn't have to be only food. Can you drop your phone and say, okay, I'll be fasting from going to my phone from morning till like 2 p.m. You can eat your food, and they said, no, I'd rather go a whole day without food than to go without my phone. And I think that really is a problem.
So, because I understand the concept of fasting is being able to, sacrifice something.
Those things that hurt you.
Yes, that you feel like you need every single day. And it's okay to fast your phone. In fact, when I was in uni, the church I used to attend, the lady told me that, she was fasting from TV. And I'm like, what? It was a culture shock to me, because I'm coming from Nigeria to the UK, and someone is telling me that they're fasting TV and their phones. And I'm like, where I'm from, you fast food. So you don't eat from 6 to 6. But it's different. And that just really opened my mind that a lot of people are addicted to their phones. A lot of people are addicted to TV, whatever it may be. And sometimes you just need to, the word is unplug. You just need to unplug from certain things. It's okay. If some people, if they lose their phones right now, they are going berserk because they don't know how they're going to function. But you should be able to tell yourself, I can do without these things. I know technology is great, but do not let it manage you. Manage technology.
The phone is an enabler. It is not your life. So don't leave it. Don't leave your phone. Leave your life. Your life is what is more important. Technology is good so that it helps you do some things that you ordinarily cannot do. I know a lot of relationships that ended, a lot of things that went bad, businesses that also went bad because of letter writing that never got to where they were because our NIPOs didn't do well. Now we are happy that we have telephone, but don't let it rule us.
Exactly.
Except your business is in the phone, but even at that, you cannot be staring at your phone 24/7.
It's not good for your eyes.
It should not happen. That's why we may find a situation where more people in their 40s might be having eye issues in the next 20 years or so. So because this generation is just looking at the screen all the time. So it's really good to unplug, like you said, and think of other things and make sure human contact is paramount. There is nothing that can replace that.
At all. You can't beat that.
No video calls, nothing that can replace
It's different. The hugs are different. The snuggles and the cuddling, totally different. Anyways, let's move on to our top trending stories this morning. First one says, Lagos Assembly passes vote of confidence in Speaker Mojisola Meranda. The Lagos State House of Assembly on Monday unanimously passed a vote of confidence in Speaker Mojisola Meranda, putting to rest speculations about her possible resignation. This move comes amid growing political tension and rumors surrounding the potential return of former Speaker Mudashiru Obasa as the chamber's leader. Lawmakers sought to reaffirm their trust in Miranda's leadership and ensure stability within the assembly. The motion was moved by Oladipo Ajomale, who represents Oshodi Isolo constituency 2, during plenary session. Ajomale emphasized that the House remains united under Miranda's leadership and dismissed external pressures suggesting a shift in power. The decision aims to maintain legislative focus amid Obasa's ongoing legal challenge against his removal from office, which has further fueled political speculations. The development follows heightened security concerns within the assembly complex, with reports of a clash between the Department of State Services, DSS, and the legislative workers earlier. As tensions continue, political observers are closely monitoring how Miranda's leadership will navigate the unfolding dynamics in Lagos politics. Well, more details on this situation are expected to emerge in the coming days, so we'll definitely see how this goes. Obviously, we all know the backstory. Obasa was, impeached. He was removed, and Miranda, who was now the first woman to actually assume that office, and people are just saying.
Well, my problem is we should not even keep talking about Miranda as being a woman, first woman. Let it not be like it's something that was given to a woman. She earned it and all that. There are so many sides to this story. There might be a unanimous vote of confidence on Miranda, but if the process to removing Obasa was wrong, then Obasa was right to go to court to seek redress, and he might just have it his way. But the thing is, I also know that even if Obasa returns as the House head, there will be another move to remove him, not impeach, but remove him. And when they remove him, it's a possibility that his political life is dead. So I don't know what the opportunity cost will be. Whether I should advise him to say, okay, just stay away and accept it because your people don't want you anymore, or fight this cause and make sure that after that you are politically dead. So I don't know. It's between the devil and the deep blue sea.
Right.
Obasa may be right. If the process was wrong, then it is wrong. Lawmakers shouldn't be the ones to break the law.
Exactly.
Yes, so
my point.
He should go to court as he has said, but he should know that the people don't want him, and he's going to come back and only face the right procedure to removing him. Either ways, he has lost.
Yeah, because you see situations like this where people don't even want you anymore, especially your colleagues. If they come together against you, they will literally frustrate your administration.
And Obasa should know that it's not only those assembly members that are making this move. There are bigger people who are drawing
pulling the strings.
So if it goes to court, the GAC, which is the Governing Advisory Council or so, is in support of Miranda. The lawmakers are in support of Miranda. And I'm sure from Aso Rock, someone somewhere in Aso Rock is in support of Miranda. So what are you coming back to do in that place? So I think
it's quite dicey. It's quite dicey. And
fight for your right, but how much will your right take you sometimes, you know?
Sometimes you just have to look at the bigger picture and say, should I lose this fight to win the war? Maybe you can come back for something else, become another political figure.
But also you could decide that, okay, even if I become politically irrelevant, but I'm going to maintain my name. I'm going to fight for my name, to clear my name. So after that, maybe I will not be a politician anymore. So that
it's just a very hard decision.
You set a precedence so that others will follow. Let it not be like, in Obasa's time, this was what we did, and we went away with it.
True. There could also be that as well,
Okay, so we have this U.S. to deport 201 Nigerians amid crackdown on illegal migrants. You know what is happening in the United States now. It has announced plans to deport 201 Nigerians as part of its ongoing crackdown on illegal migration under President Donald Trump's administration. This was disclosed during a meeting between Nigeria's Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, Bianca Odumegwu Ojukwu, and the U.S. Ambassador to Nigeria, Richard Mills, at Tafawa Balewa House, Abuja. According to Mills, the first batch of deportees will consist of convicted criminals currently serving sentences in U.S. prisons, as well as individuals who have violated immigration laws despite exhausting legal appeals. Odumegwu Ojukwu expressed concerns about the deportation process, emphasizing the need for a dignified return for affected Nigerians. She highlighted the emotional and financial toll on deportees and their families, especially those with dependents in Nigeria. According to her, Approximately 85 of the 201 individuals have already been cleared for repatriation, with U.S. authorities confirming that Lagos will be the designated drop-off point. The minister urged the U.S. government to consider allowing deportees time to settle their affairs before being forcibly removed. She questioned whether adequate provisions would be made to ease their reintegration, particularly for those who have not committed violent crimes. The Nigerian government is reportedly engaging with U.S. officials to ensure that the repatriation process is handled with fairness and humanity. Well, 201 and 85 or so already facing. My concern is, okay, when these people come, no matter what we are saying, we as Nigerians should not see this as a laughing thing.
Yeah.
A lot of these people left. Maybe the circumstances may not have been exactly what we wanted them to live in. Like somebody was saying, one girl ran with her job money and left. Now she's going to be deported. I wish that she would be deported. Well, what I'm saying is when these people come back, they have faced enough trauma out there.
Yeah.
So when they come here, we should not exacerbate what they're going to face. We should welcome them and see how this reintegration will go smoothly. Like you said, when you travel, you get experiences and all that. So they are going to bring experiences, no matter how small it is.
Yeah.
So it's going to help in making Nigeria grow. So we should welcome them with both hands, no matter the circumstances that made them to leave.
I completely agree with you. I mean, it's quite unfortunate that this is their story now, but for anyone who is even thinking of going, it's important that you go through the legal route because that's what this is. Most of them are people who have gone there. They don't have the right documents. They don't have the right papers to stay in the United States, aside the ones who are criminals and, have committed violent crimes. But every day, most Africans, they just have it in their head that I want to find greener pastures. And those greener pastures are going to the United States, going to Canada, or going to the UK. But how about you try to start to cultivate your own greener pastures here, right? Because you don't want to go somewhere that you're illegal there and they can send you back. And guess what? You're not even going to live the best life there because most times you're going to be looking over your shoulder knowing that, oh, I don't have the legal documents to be here. So you might not be able to live a full life. But if you're here, this is your home. No matter what you do, United States of America will never be your home. No matter what you do, the UK, for instance, we talk about Kemi Badenoch, right? She's Nigerian, but she has taken the whole coat of many colors that she is British, right? But guess what? She's still black. She's still Nigerian. She still looks like me. So no matter what you're going to do, you can be their lap. Let me just finish. You can be their lap dog, right? You can do whatever they want to do, whatever they want you to do. But you are still that same person. So how about you stay here, develop your nation the way it is over there. Create your own greener pastures here, and you don't have to now face the shame of being repatriated back.
Even the blacks who do not know their roots that have been there for
they
forever,
try to trace.
They still are considered second-class citizens.
Yeah.
They are called black Americans. Who are the Americans themselves? Just people who are white, that's all. Because some of these people are people who cannot even also trace, but because they are white, they are white.
I don't want to go into the whole...
So they are black Americans.
America.
What are you going? Yes, there may be greener pastures there, but you see, some things that make them commit suicide, there are the things that we feel are enjoyments to go and get to. So the cultures are different. You can actually cultivate. You have cultivated greener pastures here, but you're going to where someone has decided to water their own pastures. So why not stay here and water yours?
Yeah.
So this is not to say that there are no people who went there because legitimately they needed to be there. Yes, and there are people who, a lot of people back home in Nigeria depend on them because of what they're doing. There are people who have established businesses and all that.
Come on, look at all the doctors and the healthcare workers there.
Not only other things, but also the dollars coming back home. We saw billions and billions of diaspora money that came into Nigeria just last year and all of the years. We know how those things are. But the thing is, Now it's a wake-up call for our leaders that you should sit up and do the right thing. See Canada denying our highest military person visa to go watch the games that are being played by his people, his army men. So it's an insult as far as I'm concerned, no matter the circumstances. So we should begin to think for ourselves and do the right thing and make our place conducive enough. Let the government not say, we told you, don't go, this is our land and all that. They left because of your carelessness, they left because of your negligence of the right things that you're supposed to do. And these people, unfortunately, can still
imagine people moving through the Sahara Desert just because they want to. No. Please, let's just do better in Nigeria, stay Nigerian, and it will just be great.
I go to America every day in my dream.
Oh, Lord.
I watch movies and all. But the bottom line is Nigeria is the sweetest country you can ever.
It is your home. It is your home. Right. Our final top trending story says reps move to regulate police orderlies for government officials. The House of Representatives is considering a bill to amend the Nigeria Police Act 2020 to regulate the deployment of police officers as orderlies to top government officials. Sponsored by Lagos lawmaker Wale Raji, the bill aims to limit how long officers serve in such roles and ensure their reassignment to core policing duties after a set period. The proposed amendments to Section 18 of the Act introduces new subsections defining which public officials qualify for police orderlies. It sets a 3-year limit for officers assigned to elected officials, after which they must return to regular duties and training. Officers attached to the President, Vice President, and governors, however, may serve throughout the official's tenure. To enforce compliance, the bill prescribes penalties for officers who violate the rules. It aims to curb the abuse of police personnel attached to VIPs and enhance the professionalism and effectiveness of the Nigeria police force. The bill will return to the House floor for further debate in the coming weeks. So the truth is, in fact, I've heard that most of our policemen, they are with VIPs. So we're not even seeing as much people maintaining the law and order of the state, because guess what? They're already with VIPs and they need the money. But I think I like this bill because it makes sense. We're not saying we're not going to give you the orderlies, right? But after a while, you need to come back. You need to come back for training. The reason why we're seeing a lot of mayhem is because these people are not even well trained. Or sometimes they forget what they were trained in the first place. So I like the bill. Come back, go and do whatever you want to do. If you want to make money on the side, why not? But after 3 years, you come back. You come back to your regular duty, because what you were trained for in the first place was not to go and be guarding somebody. And have you seen how much they abuse this? Whereby a policeman will be holding a woman's handbag. Like, that is your job, right? Meanwhile, you're supposed to be maintaining law and order in the community.
Pessimist me says it will not work. You know why? To be a mobile policeman is to serve in that capacity for a number of years, maybe 3 years, and after that you come back to being regular. It's just to give you some sort of combat experience, as it were, and then after that you come back to becoming a regular policeman. It's some kind of training. Do you know that there are people who have been Mopo all their lives? They just, from regular, once they enter Mopo, that's the end.
It's the money now.
Because the money is there, and they've not been able
to...
See,
we have a picture. We have a picture right here of this is a police officer. Imagine carrying a food for it. Like that is your job now. Imagine. So they've turned these policemen to their errand boys.
So I think that should have been what the bill should have been hammering on, the duties of a police officer. And once you are seen doing anything other than that, if you can't stand your ground, it's either you are removed from that place because your boss is trying to make you into a servant, or you are sacked if you are the one who is allowing yourself to be not to withdraw. If I have an orderly, for instance, and I'm serving in the National Assembly for 2 tenors, there's a time that I will get to, and I begin to trust you, as my orderly, I wouldn't want you changed. So if you are talking about removing after 3 years and changing people like that, I will have trust issues. So I think it should be that, okay, if you're serving this person and the person feels comfortable with you.
So maybe renewal.
Yes, you can continue. But once you leave that person, you come back to being a regular person and you get the training that you're supposed to get. Because I need to trust one person. I can't be changing orderlies all the time. My life is in your hands, as it were.
True.
So, but we should talk about how many people should be there, what their functions should be, and the penalties if they don't stick to their functions and all that. Egbeto Kun, the current IGP, came and said he was feeling like a tiger, that he was going to remove all the orderlies from these people. So I was thinking that maybe it will get to a time where politicians and other celebrities will be patronizing private security firms. But he didn't do anything like that.
No.
So if he's going to talk about training, I am in support. But if we're talking about changing orderlies,
Even the orderlies. Imagine,
like the photograph, it's an
yeah.
insult to the whole country, not
Yeah.
just the police force.
Yeah.
They should make it so strict that you go there to wherever you're going and your duties remain constant.
Yeah, there are certain things you can't do. Carrying food, carrying handbag. Why? For what? All right, that's it for our top trending stories. We'll go on a short break. We look at the weather. When we return, we'll be reviewing the papers. Please stay with us.
An African girl somewhere is sitting at home, accompanied by dreams that seem so far away. Africa is one of the continents with the highest out-of-school percentage in education, and girls are at an early disadvantage. The sub-Saharan Africa records about 18 million out-of-school girls. This gender gap extends to the tech space with a projection of only a 33% global female workforce representation in tech firms for 2022. Let us help change the stories and numbers. Africa Agility's Project Train a Girl campaign is working to help train African girls in tech. You can donate as little as $2 or 2,000 naira to help a girl in tech get her heels in the door. Visit www.africaagility.rallyup.com/PTAG to donate.
I will take you through this amazingness today.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Vicky November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on Plus TV Africa.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
That Remy Ogunbiton lived most of his childhood and all his teenage years in the United Kingdom.
In England, they sent for us. I was about 5 or 6. That's my junior sister was about 5. We went to join them. And we were with them there for many, many years. We went to school, went to university, started work.
Did you know that Remy Ogunbiton served in the British Army?
I was then, by the time we came back, I had left school, I left university. I was in the British Army. And I spent some time in the British Army, in the Ordnance Corps. And that was where I got the love for video communications and all of those kinds of things.
Did you know that Remy Ogunbiton is from a royal family?
Get that mix of, yes, Ijebu, where that is my origins.
Yes.
My mother is from, she always used to tease my father when he used to misbehave, that look, don't talk to me anyhow. I'm from a royal family. My father is the Daguri of Idowa. So my mother was from a royal family.
But Idowa is also Ijebu now.
Yeah, Ijebu, yeah.
Did you know
that Remi Ogunbiton worked with the United States Information Service?
The American Embassy came along and offered me an opportunity that I couldn't resist.
What was that opportunity?
They offered me a job at the United States Information Service.
Okay.
Yeah, as the audiovisual manager.
Oh, that's on Broad Street, USI.
Did you know that Remi Ogunbiton established his own TV production company, IBSC, back in 2002?
It was a juicy bit of money.
Very good.
With some other businesses that I done at that time, like the All Africa Games and everything, I started IBST until today.
What is IBST?
Integrated Broadcast Services and Technology.
Thank you for staying with us. You're still watching The Breakfast on Plus TV Africa. It's time to take the global stories that have made it to the front pages of our national dailies this morning. And joining us to review the papers is Chris Kehinde Wandu. He's the executive editor, CKN News. Good morning, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Good morning, sir.
Always a pleasure. All right, so we begin with the Punch this morning, and in fact, it's the main story for all of our papers this morning. And on the Punch, it leads with chaos crisis in Lagos. DSS lawmakers bicker over daylight assembly invasion. Another writer says Miranda refuses to resign, Obasa plots return. GAC to meet Tinubu, Sanwo-Olu security changed. On the Nigerian Tribune, it says chaos in Lagos Assembly, DSS invasion of assembly premises, entering of chambers spark outrage. Lawmakers, assembly workers, indigents storm assembly, scuffle with security personnel. Leaked memo shows DSS was invited over need for enhanced security measures. Miranda gains support, sheds tears amid confidence vote by 36 lawmakers. On The Guardian, it says Lagos Assembly crisis worsen, reveals deeper cracks in state's power dynamics. What's your take on all of this? Because this is a major thing. Of course, we know the story. Obasa was removed, even though he says he wasn't removed in the legal or the legitimate way, and he's trying to come back. But of course, Miranda has already assumed power as the leader of the House. Right now, we're seeing whereby there's a little bit of scuffle, a little bit of crisis with the Lagos State Assembly. And right now, everybody's asking what's with the power dynamics. What's your take on that?
Well, it's quite unfortunate what happened or what is happening within the Lagos State House of Assembly. What is going on is more power tussle. But the interesting part of it is that it seems that something is fundamentally wrong. And the president seems to be losing his hold or his political base, which is Lagos, after he has relocated to Abuja. Lagos is a state that was practically under the total wrap of the president when he was the #1 man, as I would say it, leader of the party in the state. But it seems that his relocation to Abuja seems to have opened his flanks for so many assemblies. Let's start with even going back. During the 2023 presidential election, for the first time, for a long time, the APC, of which the president was the presidential candidate of the party, lost in Lagos State. If you remember that vividly, the president lost the election in Lagos State during the 2023 election. It was that Lagos State was won by Labour. It was the governorship election that came in later that the APC won through the incumbent governor. So taking that further, we thought that all was well until this issue of removal or no removal, Mr. Mudashiru Obasa as the speaker came up. And before you knew it, things are falling apart and the center cannot hold. there have been so many things, so many rumors, nobody knows which is which, that the president was not happy. Some people say the president was not happy, that he was not consulted. We read other sort of rumor where they say, okay, they are going to placate the president by going to beg him and say that what has happened has happened. And everything took a head yesterday when the DSS practically took over the assembly complex. What we heard later was that actually that the Honorable Speaker, through the clerk of the House, wrote to the DSS, inviting them for security that they had. That within the rumor means that Mr. Obasa will be coming with his supporters to the assembly yesterday for whatever reason, and it was based on that that the DSS obliged them. But what later happened is that the DSS on its own went beyond his mandate, as if he had his own written script. By going around, the same people that invited you, you went to lock up the office of the speaker, lock up the office of the deputy speaker, even the clerk that wrote the letter of invitation to you, you lock up his office too, and wouldn't allow members to access the assembly. Don't forget, prior to this, some week back, either a week or two ago, based on the petition written to the DSS by Honorable Obasa, the deputy speaker, the current deputy speaker, was invited by the DSS and practically detained until some members of the House members went to Magodo office of DSS to get him released. So a lot of interest. We don't even know who is in charge. We don't know what to believe. We don't know, and that in itself is a big problem. So the APC in Lagos State seems not to be getting its act together. And so yesterday, in order to avoid all the necessary bickering, the lawmakers passed a vote of confidence on the speaker and now adjourned Sendai, as we say, indefinitely. So we are still waiting. Even this morning, there's still the rumor coming in that Obasa and his Obasa has only 3 members that are supporting him out of about 39 members supporting members of the House of Assembly. There's no rumor that he may show up today, but let's wait and see. But I think it is for the president to be able to step in and show leadership and make sure that this issue is settled once and for all.
Still on political crisis, we move to Osun, still on Punch. Osun mayhem, ex-councillor chair, 6 others shot dead as a Adeleke Oyetola supporters war. What do you make of the situation in Osun State? People are already dying.
Like Lagos, like Osun, and that is why we are saying the issue of Lagos should be sorted out as quickly as possible, so that we don't, it does not degenerate into bloodshed and where people have to lose their life. We saw what happened in Osun yesterday. Prior to that, the governor of the state, Governor Adeleke, had come out 22 hours before that to say that there's an attempt by the former governor of the state, Gboyega Oyetola, to cause mayhem. And what is the issue? The APC in the state, of which the Oyetola was leader, said that there's a court injunction, a judgment of the court, restricting the former local government chairman to go back to their offices, of which the PDP-led government of Adeleke said no, there's nothing like that. And a court of appeal on its own also has dismissed the former local government chairman, so there's nothing of such. I thought that security agencies would have been mobilized to make sure that there was peace, and most of these things are nipped in the bud. But the police, as it were, dropped the ball. Probably they were waiting for the gladiators to clash and kill themselves, because I expected that by yesterday, because of what happened, just like it happened in Rivers State, where the police quickly went to the local government to lock up the local government and take control of the local government. The police, as if they are playing some kind of sides of some of the gladiators, just kept a limbo, stayed off the secretariat, and there was a free-for-all, during which we are being told now the local government chairman has been killed. About 7 or so Nigerians have also killed. Now you ask yourself, wasn't this avoidable? Where was the Inspector General of Police? Where was the DG of DSS? Where are the other chief security heads within the state and even at the federal level to be able to make sure that some of these things are nipped in the bud. But as it were, it seems like it is politics, and in politics you will see people taking sides as well. So as of this morning, we don't know the situation. We don't know whether the police have taken over the local government, because from the press release issued by the governor last night, he was calling on the police to take over the local government security within the local government secretariat, so that some level of peace can be. But it still goes back to those. The governor is not in charge of the police, and that is why some people have been saying that this issue of state police, whether it's going to work or not, the governor cannot give directive to the commissioner of police. The commissioner of police takes directly from Abuja. Abuja could be Asoro, Abuja could be IGP, but that puts him in a precarious situation where he cannot be able to maintain law and order in the state. So if there are some vested interests within the state, then the governor has practically had next to nothing. But there has been a Supreme Court judgment on the issue of local government, and to me, that is the supreme, and that is what we should be able to adhere to. But for anybody to start using the issue of local government to start causing mayhem in any form, that is practically unacceptable, and the police and security agencies should be blamed for what happened yesterday.
Okay, just for now, it is not confirmed, but there's something just popped up that the Lagos State Speaker Miranda may have resigned. That is not it at all. Okay, thank you for clarifying that. Okay, so we're still talking about some happenings. We're still there on the Punch newspaper. AGF bans police from parading suspects.
Well, it's not today that has been banned. There has been court judgment on that matter for long, and it is criminal for you to parade people just like that. But I don't know why the police are so quick at parading people even before they are investigated and or prosecuted. I don't know the rationale behind that, because most often than not, the same people you are parading, you have not prosecuted them, and at times when they get to court, the court sets them free. So what happens to what you have done? I totally disagree with that style of the Nigerian police, who are very, very quick. Not only the Nigerian police, but other security agencies. The EFCC does that as well. You will see the EFCC will be so quick to write, you see that blackboard that they write and ask you to stick it to your chest, and they start parading you. No, it is not done anywhere. So I would rather, and why they are getting away with it is that nobody has truly sued them on that and get effective prosecution and judgment on that. Even if they are, the problem with why our security agencies engage in this lot of impunity is that even when judgment is entered for an individual on the issue with the security agencies, and the security agencies are asked to pay certain damages, they don't pay. They don't, and nobody enforces that. I've seen instances where the police lose cases and are paid to pay the victim 10 million naira, 20 million naira, 50 million, even 100 million. Nobody does that. If there is that level of enforcement, and you ask yourself, who is going to enforce? Who is going to enforce the enforcer? Until we'll be able to do the needful, then we continue on this level of impunity. But I totally agree that this issue of parading people both for the fun of it, just for the cameras and media trial should stop. But is the AGF, how will he be able to implement that? When is the same police that are supposed to implement this directive are the ones that are corporate and always parading Nigerians or whoever they call suspects? Because that is why you see us journalists, when we are reporting on issues like this, we always use the word alleged, allegedly, alleged, because the person, everybody is presumed innocent by the face of the law, by the 1999 Constitution, as amended, until proven otherwise. So the person you are parading today may tomorrow be innocent. Are you going to come back to parade the person and say, okay, remove what we put on chest? Oh, he is no longer, no longer guilty and rest of. I totally agree with the GL, but a question will ask yourself, how is he going to implement that, and who is going to implement this particular order?
Interesting. All right, so let's just move over to the power sector. So still on the Punch, it says, federal government plans 2.3 trillion electricity subsidy in 2025. About 178.03 billion electricity subsidy was done in January, despite, you know, the cash backing and all of that. And of course, the previous month was about 197.91 billion. So there's been a 10% decrease with what the government has had to shoulder for January. But with this right now, what do you think is the financial stability of the power sector if they have to keep paying this subsidy? I know that in other countries, they subsidize one thing or another. And in our country, it used to be fuel subsidy. But right now, the electricity tariff for especially low-income earners are now being subsidized. How do you think they might be able to stay through the course if they keep having to pay this amount of money?
Because you got to ask yourself, who are the people being subsidized?
Low-income earners, they say.
I recharged my just yesterday, and I still got the same number of units. So who are the people? You say, am I high income? Am I within nothing? We don't have what we used to have in the past, where we have median income, lower income. Everybody has been. They don't segment us. It's either up there or down. And me, I know I'm down there. I'm not up. So if you are subsidizing, I should be part of those that are subsidized. Now, within my area, in the past going to 24 hours now, I'm supposed to be on so-called bandit A or banditry A or whatever they call it. I've not had light.
It's a banditry.
Yeah, banditry, yeah. In their so-called banditry. I've not had light. And I'm supposed to be on banditry A. So I just believe that all this issue, yes, we've always called for a high level of subsidy on electricity, power, energy that is being done across the globe. But it's only subsidized when you have a high level of surplus. A situation where you have just hovering between 4,000, not even up to 5,000 megawatts per country of over 200 million people. So what are we talking about? Which is why some of us have totally disagree with this so-called bandit and no bandit, whether bandit A or bandit, whatever. Everybody should be within the same level. Every Nigerian deserves to have electricity. Nobody ought to be discriminated upon. You don't need to tell me I'm a so person. Even the so-called people that they are putting on so-called bandit and other, some of them are already crying out, we are not as big or rich as we say we are. A situation where we'll be spending practically close to about 40% or 50% of our salary on electricity. What is expected? So, yes, subsidy is good, but who is being subsidized and how much it is? We need to know, because that is what I always see that these are just conduit avenue to be able to siphon money. Forget it. It's the same thing that they do with us with the issue of cash transfer. They identify how many people, 50 million Nigerians, who they'll be transferring 50,000 naira, 25,000 naira. And we ask, where is the register? Where is the register to? Nobody has come out to give us a clear-cut register and a list of who have been collected. And this thing started with the last regime. We have trillions and trillions of money we are embezzled. And you saw what happened within the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and the issue of Madam Betta Edu and her ministry. And an inquiry, a committee was set up to probe Edu. Until now, nothing. You have listened to the report of that probe. Has she been prosecuted? So I still believe that this is just an avenue until the government comes clean, and that's what we say every time. Until we be able to come clean and win the confidence of the people, no matter how you try to be able to make them believe that you are within and try to improve their lives, Nigerians that will not believe. We need empirical evidence to be able to match make this, that what you are saying is true. But for me, for now, I don't see any level of subsidy, except you have maybe they've subsidized you also. Maybe we can be able to tell us.
She's banned. Anyway, when we talk about subsidy, we would expect that places like hospitals and other critical infrastructure will be subsidized.
Exactly.
But power outage
at the University of Ibadan and
yes,
of the teaching hospitals across
the UCH resident doctors threaten indefinite strike.
The students hostel are not even part of it. They'll also be part in darkness. They're just talking about the students, the medical students, and even the staff. They don't still have light. And that's the problem.
They are threatening strike right now as we speak.
Yes, I agree with you. It's true. Yeah.
Well, well, I don't know. Unfortunate will not do justice to whatever we're talking about right now. Okay, so we move to Daily Trust. Saudi firm threatens to sue Hajj Commission over contract breach. Contract breach. We've been seeing a lot of things when it comes to Hajj, and within the country, even how many people have been sued or been made to face the panel for fraud regarding the money that was voted for Hajj and all that. And now a Saudi firm is threatening the Hajj Commission over contract breach. I don't know what you make of that story.
Well, I don't know. I don't know I've not read that story. I don't know what it's all about. But the part is that we've always said it on this program that government has next to nothing to do with Hajj. Pilgrimage is a personal obligation. You want to go on pilgrimage, then arrange for yourself. If you want to go to Mecca, arrange for yourself. If you want to go to Jerusalem, it is your personal conviction. It has nothing to do with the government. So why should government be subsidizing and also be paying for certain people to go on pilgrimage? That is totally unacceptable. And because of that, some people have taken advantage of the situation. We saw what happened during the last Hajj, where the Director General or the Executive Secretary of the Nigerian Hajj Commission was involved in so much pilfering, as it were, and he has to be removed. And it goes back to what we used to say. The issue of Nigeria is not be able to see where the problem is. We cannot be able to provide solution. The man that was accused, allegedly, to have stolen billions and billions of naira from the Hajj Commission, after he was removed, what happened? That is the question you ask yourself. Has he been prosecuted? Has he been jailed? If he has been prosecuted and he has been found guilty, have recovered that he allegedly, using the word again, allegedly stole. So if there's a contract, if there's a contract in law, that's what we call valid contract. A valid contract is a contract that is signed, sealed, and delivered. If there's a valid contract with certain organization or individuals towards the Hajj or whatever, it is obligatory that you must see that obligations through. Once both of you have agreed and it has been signed, in the course of any dispute, that's what we call, depending on the clause within the law, that is what we call arbitration. So most often than not, in such contract, what we say, the first level is to say, we'll go on arbitration. Have they gone on arbitration? If they've gone on arbitration, was it resolved or was not resolved? It is only when you could not be able to resolve within the arbitration that you can proceed to court. But if there was nothing, there's no clause within that contract for arbitration, then definitely court will be the issue. And the question you ask yourself, if it's a foreign firm, where will they institute that court action? Is it Saudi Arabia or in Nigeria? It's a very, very, very intricate issue.
It's an international arbitration court that they're taking it to, and what they had done was they unilaterally cancelled the contract days to the closure of deadlines, or the deadline closure, and that was what happened.
Yeah, that's why I said that within the clause, there is what there must always be arbitration clause. So if it's taken to International Court of Arbitration, then that is it. Then also in the CAP clause, as I was taught during my law program, in that clause, both of you are going to agree where the arbitration is going to take place. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah.
You are going to agree. If there is any dispute, this arbitration will not take place in Nigeria and it will not take place in Saudi Arabia. It may be said that we meet in Qatar, somewhere, we meet in Dubai, and blah, blah, blah. So it's a very, very different. And the problem with arbitration is that even at the end of it all, if for any reason both of you are not able to resolve your issue within the arbitration, you have a right to go to court. So let's wait and see what happens.
All right. So there's one final story on The Guardian. It says Nigerians show approval of Tinubu's performance via defection to APC. What do you think the president's performance has been so far, and how come Nigerians are cheering? Maybe they are.
Please be very brief, because
we have 30 seconds for this.
It's a critical question that will make you talk on and on, please.
I should ask you both the same question. Are we not in Nigeria? So I should ask you, what is the performance? All of us know what the performance is. It depends from which side of the divide you are talking from. If you are an APC, still APC member, and somebody benefiting from the government, so we have done so well within the past 2 years. But some majority of Nigerians will also say, no, we've been impoverished, and that is the fact. Things have not improved. We've not seen any level of improvement from what we had pre-May 29th, 2023, and that's a fact. As the life of Nigerians improve within this period, I would say no. We've seen what happened within the energy sector, with the rise increment in the petroleum price, energy price.
The concern, Mr. Chris, Mr. Chris, the concern.
And the rest of them. Even this so-called 70,000 naira minimum wage that the government promised, some states are not even paying at all. So I wouldn't see any level of but as I said, it depends on where you sit in between the divide. If you are pro-government, you say yes, they've done so well. If you are anti-government, I won't even use the word anti-government. If somebody that just sitting a neutral person like you and I would say that there have not been any level of improvement between now and 2023. Probably before the government runs out in 2027, Nigerians may be able to see some kind of silver lining at the end of the tunnel. But they've told you already that there's no vacancy in Aso Rock in 2027. So it is Nigerians to decide, and not just members of the ruling party.
All right, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure having you. Thank you for your time, Chris.
Thank you very much. Have a wonderful day.
You too. All right, so we're speaking with Chris Kende-Wandu, who is Executive Editor, CKN News, and we've just been taking the global stories that made it to the front pages of our national dailies. We'll go on a short break now. When we return, we'll be discussing our first hot topic, and this talks about, well, it says Sharia panels in Southwest spark controversy. Please stay with us.
Did you know that Akin Lewis graduated with a first-class degree in acting and directing?
People don't know that I read drama. Actually, I have a master's degree, first class, in acting and directing.
Did you know that Akin Lewis has been in the acting profession for 49 years?
When we started acting, drama as it were, there was no money in it. Now, this is my 49th year. Yeah. There was no money in it.
Did you know that Akin Lewis has been married twice?
What, you remarried?
Oh, yes, I remarried. Okay. Yes. You know, I told you I'm stable now. Calm waters, sailing. Yeah, I remarried. And I have a beautiful daughter, Ifana. Now,
what's her name?
Oba.
Did you know that Akin Lewis was almost killed during the inter-ethnic massacre preceding the Civil War?
When the pogrom started, you know that thing that led to the Civil War?
Yes.
Thanks for staying with us. It's time now to look at our first hot topic, and that's on Sharia. Experts are divided over the proposed Sharia arbitration panels in southwest Nigeria. Supporters, including the NSCIA, argue that the panels will help resolve disputes among Muslims, while critics fear they could fuel religious tension. Christian groups and traditional institutions strongly oppose the move, and state governments in Ogun and Oyo have rejected it. Legal experts Adam Oloriaje insist the panels are voluntary and have functioned peacefully in Lagos for 22 years. However, security strategist David Okoro and commentator Fola Ojo warned that they could disrupt the region's religious harmony. Critics also questioned the legality of the panels, noting that only legislatures can establish courts. With mounting opposition, the future of Sharia arbitration in the Southwest remains uncertain. Our guest this morning is Comrade Mark Adebayo, National Spokesperson, Coalition of United Political Parties. Good morning and welcome to the program, Mr. Adebayo.
Good morning. Thanks so much.
Good morning.
Good
morning.
Okay, what's your take about the proposed establishment of the Sharia arbitration courts in the Southwest, or in anywhere else in Nigeria apart from the north that we already have Sharia law?
You see, people are just busy doing things that are absolutely unnecessary. You want to bring Sharia to the Southwest? Of course, it will be resisted because it's unreasonable, because it's unnecessary. Because, I mean, how will Sharia help education, for example? How will it help health, for example? How will it help infrastructural development? How will it help security? Because Southwest is known for religious harmony, for religious tolerance. You know, I grew up, I was born into a society where Muslims will go and pay a visit to their Christian neighbors or even feed there on Christmas days. And the same thing will happen during the Ramadan, in the Kabir, in the Fitri, and the rest of that. The Christians will go to the homes of their Muslim friends to facilitate with them. That has, in fact, the former head of state of Nigeria, General Yakub Gowon, once said that all the other parts of the country should go to Yoruba land and learn how to live together in peace, in religious harmony, because the Yoruba people have long ago. But you see, a couple of fundamentalists are rising up and trying to cause chaos. I mean, what is that going to bring to the table in terms of development, in terms of security, in terms of peace to the southwest of Nigeria, where we have been told by the state governors in Southwest that there are indications that elements of ISWAP and Boko Haram are moving down Southwest, so as to create, to cause another chaos. And now you are raising issues that will also even compromise the security and the harmony of the region by saying you are bringing Sharia. Look, Sharia should be left where it is, in the north. They shouldn't bring it here. Because you see, if you bring it here, there's no way you say, because we live together among ourselves, you say it's only between Muslim and Muslim. What of, there are situations in Yoruba land especially where a Muslim is married to a lady who still goes to church, who is still a Christian. We are that harmonious when it comes, we are that tolerant when it comes to religion. But we bring Sharia now, you are going to create crisis. Because there's a family where in the same house, Yoruba land, you have some children of the same father going to the mosque, we have children of the same father going to the church. So we should leave it like that. We should not allow any fundamentalists to come and create unnecessary chaos. Because of the crisis, the Sharia law will clash with the regular law, with the regular court. There will be issues, there will be crisis. So, because the people who are so going overdrive, promoting these things, have a hidden agenda. They have a hidden agenda. And that hidden agenda will not see the light of day. Why don't you allow a sleeping dog to lie? What is the benefit of Sharia for anybody here in this part of the world? So it is. So that is why we keep saying that this country needs a new direction. We need a new direction. We don't need to be arrested within a circle of certainty, as promulgated, as propounded by Frantz Fanon. So we need to move ahead. We need to move forward. Even religion, the kind of things that religion creates, the crisis it creates, is beginning to make some of us begin to doubt. The necessity for religion at all whatsoever. Not to talk of now bringing Sharia that is so controversial. Even in the Islamic enclaves, is even still controversial there. So that is it.
So could it
won't do any good to the Southwest.
So could it be that maybe they're losing confidence in our conventional courts? Is that why they're, thinking of bringing this? And maybe there's been a precedent for this, because I know that in the past there used to be traditional laws whereby you go to Amadioha and you go and swear. I mean, we're in Africa. It's Africa traditional religion. So with this now, if they're saying they need to bring Sharia law into the Southwest state, at this point, do we also embrace, traditional laws as well, and then maybe Christian courts too?
You see, this country needs a new direction in thinking, new direction in governance, new direction in society, in community. We need a new direction from all this backward thinking stuff. If people need Sharia, let them go to where Sharia operates, not to bring Sharia to the Southwest. We are saying that it's going to be counterproductive, it's going to create crisis, it's going to create chaos, which we can ill afford at this time. If they don't have confidence in the regular courts, they might as well say that they lack confidence in the governors, they don't have confidence in the president, they don't have confidence in the constitution of Nigeria, they don't have confidence in the country. Because all of us are in it together. Even where there's Sharia, there are cases you cannot take to Sharia. You have to still take it to the regular court. The Sharia will not determine election matters. Sharia will not determine certain criminal matters. Sharia, for instance, cannot try treason or treasonable felony. A lot of things that Sharia courts cannot do. So if you say it's only, and now they are giving excuses. That was what they said when they started this in Zamfara. And many people paid, but a teacher was stoned to death under the false pretense that she desecrated the Quran. If you bring it here, you are going to now create another colony of massive Almajiris in the Southwest. It's going to be a total distraction. If they say they have lost confidence in regular court, that is the which they have not, a reason which they have not adduced anyways. It's not an excuse to bring Sharia to this place. Because it's not, you can see the resistance going ahead, you can see the protests going on. That is what you are going to see if you bring Sharia to this place. It is now that we know that external forces, although we have known that a long time ago, external forces are behind Boko Haram. The same thing is what is happening now. Is just the voice of Jacob and the hand of Esau that is happening now. That they are now advocating for Sharia to come to the Southwest, not to create unnecessary crisis, because there will be a clash. There will be a clash of cultures, there will be a clash of civilization, there will be a clash of interest if you bring Sharia courts to this space. It is unnecessary. What benefit? Okay, what benefits have they been able to adduce to bringing Sharia to the Southwest? They have not been able, other than religious sentiments and the rest of that.
Okay,
you know it as it is.
So would you say that this is a governance issue, a legal issue, or a religious issue?
I think it's about religious fundamentalist issue. It's just because a few extremists, it's about a few extremists coming together to just look for trouble for the Southwest by raising this issue at this time. It's not about governance issue. It's about religious sentiments. That's all. It's about religious. It's about very parochial religious sentiments that is allowed these people, because a lot of people don't even know what they believe in. How many people even understand the religion they are practicing across the line, whether traditional, whether Christianity, whether Islam? How many people who are in those religions understand what there are some Christians who don't even know, they don't know where Leviticus is. They think it's in the New Testament. Some people don't even know where James is. They think it's in the Old Testament, because they don't read the Bible except what their pastors tell them on Sundays. The same thing with especially with Islam, that you don't even understand the language. You need to go and learn the language first and begin to learn the alphabet, alif, ba, ta, sa, and so on and so forth. It makes it much more complicated. That's why the Yoruba people have a name for Islam as Imali. So a very difficult thing to learn. So now it is not about governance. It's not about. It's not even about politics. It's about religious fundamentalism. It is about religious extremism. And it's a threat. We must see it as that. We must see it as that. The people are already complaining. People have started protesting. They went to Adwait to protest. They went to Ibadan to protest. They went to Oyo to protest. People are already protest. Anywhere they say they want to hold anything kind of meeting about Sharia in the Southwest, people gather and go and protest there, and they won't allow the event to go. That must tell you, all these people, Ilana Odua, Yoruba Nation, and co, are coming together, including the OPC. They will go to where they say they want to do anything about Sharia. You are now, crisis is coming. We shouldn't allow that.
Comrade Adebayo, I do not know how you're exonerating the governance from this issue. When Sharia came into Nigeria, I'm saying when it came into Nigeria because we remember when it came to the north, it was the governor who made it like, it was first of all his campaign promise, and when he got into the office, he now said it was going to be implemented. That was a governor, not only, maybe the governor doubles as a religious fanatic or something, but it also tells you what our leaders think about instead of the other things that will develop a country, like you were mentioning them. They think about religious things. In fact, we were talking this morning about how government was even having business with Hajj and all other things that should be strictly religious. So don't you think that governance and religious is being mixed in Nigeria? For instance, when you want to contest, they tell you this is a Muslim ticket, it cannot happen. Muslim Christian has to be and all that. And now, gradually, we have a Muslim ticket, which means that religion and governance have come together. Religion and politics have come together. So why do you choose to exonerate governance or politics from this?
You see, Yangul, we need to disaggregate these issues. You know, for Zamfara State, where Governor Yari started, it's not Governor Yari, that governor started this thing. No, you need to go and visit Zamfara now. You can't even visit Zamfara because the likelihood of you being kidnapped by terrorists is about 95%. You know, it's about 90%. So I wouldn't even advise you to even go to Zamfara. So what has become of Zamfara State today? Zamfara State remains one of the poorest in the country. Zamfara State has probably the highest number of out-of-school children in the country. Zamfara State has, terrible infrastructural deficit in this country. What has Sharia done for them? It's not a governance issue. It may be a governance issue for them there, but here in the Southwest, it's not a governance issue. Not the governor, not the commissioner, not the local government chairman, not even the councillor started this thing. It is some individual, extremists who came together and said they did it. And then we need to let Sultan of Sokoto remain Sultan of Sokoto and should not be interfering in the affairs of the Southwest. He is not a monarch that the Southwest is under. The Southwest is not under. So he should not be, interfering in a way that we escalate the crisis. The Nigerian Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs should stay out of this. Is Southwest. This is not a governance issue. It's about individuals who came together, extremists and fundamentalists who say they need Sharia. If you need Sharia, you can practice it inside your house, your home, your family, your mosque, not in the larger society. What you are saying is that we are practicing Sharia. What has Sharia done for them? Like the Gen Zs will say, who Sharia help? You need to, if you see Zamfara, the crisis in Zamfara, the poverty in Zamfara, the insecurity in Zamfara, the terrible educational deficit in Zamfara, the terrible infrastructural deficit in Zamfara, the corruption in the governance system where Sharia purportedly operates in Zamfara is mind-boggling. It's humongous. So you cannot see, I don't see, if traditionally we are a society where they are naturally Muslims, that Sharia has not helped them. How do you think it will help a society that has never been under any kind of religious encumbrances or inhibition, like in the Southwest?
Okay.
Like the Southwest is a model.
Okay, we understand that. We understand that, Comrade Adebayo. We understand that. We know that there are some people who would rather have that religious background than the prosperity that you're thinking about, because they feel that maybe even when they die in their poverty, they might go to heaven and all that. But interesting aspect of history told us or tells us that even Islam entered Nigeria in the Southwest first before it went to the North. And I don't know how they... Sorry?
Or your kingdom first. That's where Islam first came in.
It entered here first before it got. And when you were talking about religious tolerance, I wondered why you didn't mention the president. The president has a pastor wife, and he's a Muslim, and that is how the Southwest is. My concern is, they have said that this Islam has been in Lagos State, this Sharia arbitration has been in Lagos State and operated for over 22 years. Why is the noise coming now?
Okay, if it operated for 22 years, what killed it? Why did it stop? It shows the resistance of society. it shows it's not a welcome development. It shows that it cannot survive within a community of people that have decided to be blind to religion, to be blind to wherever. Yeah, look at the typical example of our president that you just mentioned. His wife is a Christian, he's also a pastor. Some of his children are Christians, some of his children are Muslims. You understand? That is who we are in the Southwest. That is who we are. And now, go and study that Sharia very well. You will see that it will make interrelationship between Islam and other religions very, very difficult. You know, very, very difficult. Because there will be no-go areas for you as a Muslim in the Sharia. So there will be no-go areas. That you will begin to see yourself that you will not be. I went for a wedding last Saturday. The husband is a Christian. The family of the wife are all Muslims. So what did they do? In fact, the father is a Muslim. The mother of the girl is a Christian. So they brought a pastor and brought an imam to, you know, sort of consummate the wedding for them. That is who we are, and everybody was happy. When you are singing your Christian song, the Muslims are dancing with you. When you are singing your Islamic song, the Christians are dancing with you. If Sharia, look, you need to go and study. I don't want to go into too many of these things because I don't want my intervention to be misunderstood. So that is why I am saying that the harmony we have here, the peace we have here, together in the same family. You know, we see in the Yoruba, you know, you see somebody, a child of the same father is a traditional worshipper. The other one is a Christian. The other one is a Muslim. Another one doesn't even believe in God. Yes, nobody is excommunicated. All of us live together in harmony. Believe in what you want to believe. Nobody cares about that. We will not discriminate against you on the basis of your faith. We will not discriminate against you on the basis of who or what you believe in. And we want to leave it at that. Don't bring a law that will now put people in the straight jacket. In the do's and don'ts. Don't marry a Christian. Don't mingle with other people of other religion. So, but, you know, it's a draconian. The Sharia is a draconian system.
All right.
We cannot accommodate that in the Southwest.
Yeah. Okay, so going forward with what you've said, because we're talking about religious harmony, whereby, especially in the Southwest, you know, people can be Muslim, Christian, traditional worshippers, but they all, you know, come together, they all stay together, right? So what are the alternatives at the moment? Aside, you know, the regular courts that we have, what other alternatives can you suggest when it comes to dispute resolution?
I would want to say that our regular courts are enough to deal with whatever issues arise between individuals. And if the crisis is bigger or something, but they can approach their imams to intervene. I mean, there are provisions in the Quran that allows for that. That your imam, your religious head can intervene and make some decisions and you know, give interventions and resolutions about some issues. I think that should be, for me, there is no alternative than to allow our legal system as it is currently, as it currently operates in the Southwest, to allow it to be. And you see, if we want to talk about governance issues on this matter, it's just to say that we need a totally new direction in this country, new thinking, new direction. We need a new direction for Nigeria to be able to function well. If we were to be thinking about advancement, if we are to be thinking about stupendous advances in technology and science, we will not be thinking about all this. For me, it's a negative distraction for us. Indeed, when we are discussing, when people are hungry, when people are hungry, when people, we have, even in the Southwest now, we are beginning to have dropout. We are beginning to have out of school children. The percentage is increasing. That should be our conversation. That should be our commitment. That should be something that should trouble us, not bringing things that is already creating argument, crisis, and controversy. It has not started though.
I do hope we don't get to a point where we implement policies that will divide Nigeria and further disintegrate us instead of unifying us. And I do hope that we'll emerge victorious out of all this crisis and learn our lessons, especially as we have begun to learn from what Donald Trump is doing in the U.S. But this is where we have to wrap up. Comrade Mark Adebayo, we'd like to thank you for your time this morning.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much for your time this morning. Okay, we've been talking with Comrade Mark Adebayo, the national spokesperson of the Coalition of United Political Parties, and we were looking at the agitation or proposal for the Sharia panels to be established in the Southwest and the controversy it is sparking or bringing. We're going to take a short break now, and when we return, we'll be talking about Monday Okpebholo's 100 days in office. We'll be reviewing his Renewing Hope agenda in Edo. Stay with us.
From Adamawa State, northeastern Nigeria. I attended an introduction course in conservation biology, and I realized this was what my passion was. After I completed my master's in the UK, I knew I wanted to come back to my country. I knew I wanted to come and work for conservation in Nigeria and nowhere else. Before WCS took over managing the ranger activity, about 10 to 20 elephant carcasses were recorded, killed by poachers annually. Rangers were not properly trained, they were not armed, so one ranger with a firearm in a team and the others would have cutlasses and sticks. That made the hunters more confident. I experienced poaching, I think, my first day in Yankari.
It was almost fading, only the name was existing, but the actual reserve was just a shadow of itself. Poaching generally is a very big problem for us in Yankari.
I realized there was lots of grievances from the surrounding communities. Sometimes they would send huge complaints and huge threats that they would kill elephants because elephants have gone out to destroy their farms, destroy their crops.
duk gaba ɗaya je kore su amma da kai dai mai gona je kore kayansa ko wani damuwansa ne kuma lokacin ma mutane ba su da yawa ba su yi gonakai da yawa a kusa dajin kamar yanzu ba.
We believe a couple of elephants were killed in the past because of the problems with crop reading. Then I got the opportunity to do the CLP program with WCS Nigeria. It has a very good collection of very passionate people working for the same cause, and it's been very great experience for me.
Before Nacha came, we didn't have any conservation outfit per se. But when he came, he put things in order, he put the rangers in proper perspective.
Working with Yankari Rangers has been really a great experience for me. It took me a while when I took over to understand them. So I got closer to them, spent more time with them, visited them in their homes, ate the same food with them, brought them so close that I was able to understand what are some of their needs, what are their problems. So when we took over, we were able to work with our partners, get them some firearms, some ammunition, uniforms, boots, kit bags.
My boss is a moral man. Enjoy staying with him and enjoy working with him.
Over time, the number of elephant carcasses went down, the number of patrols increased, and
Thank you for staying with us. You're still watching The Breakfast on Plus TV Africa. Right now we're discussing 100 days in office, reviewing Okpebholo's renewing hope in Edo. The first 100 days of a new administration serve as a key indicator of a leadership potential. For this Edo State governor, his early days in office have been defined by leadership qualities that go beyond policies to create real impact. Today, our guest, the Special Advisor on Media and Publicity to the Governor, will provide insights into how the governor's success, rather than just looking at policies, will explore how his personality has influenced the work he has done and the hope he has instilled in Edo State. This conversation will offer a unique angle on the first 100 days by emphasizing the leader's character and vision, showing how these have played a key role in shaping the administration's accomplishments and the renewed optimism felt across the state. This morning we have our guest Bugi Okoemo. He's a Special Advisor on Media and Publicity to the Edo State Governor. Good morning, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, Ruben. Thank you for having me. Good morning.
Good morning. All right, so as the Special Advisor on Media and Publicity, how would you describe the governor's first day in office? First 100 days rather in office.
Fantastic. I mean, it's been a breath of fresh air, considering where we are coming from. You know, I don't intend to spend too much time talking about the past administration, but for purpose of context, I might have to make reference to it from time to time. In the past, we had what I'll describe as a group of people with an elitist intention to commercialize the resources of Edo people for the benefit of a corporate few. These were people who were capitalist-minded, who focused more on profit, you know, enriching corporate elites. Today we have a governor who's pragmatic, who's grassroots-based, who came from the grassroots, who's more welfare-oriented, who's more about providing practical governance, providing practical solutions, cutting out all of the bureaucracies and all of the, you know, technicalities that slow delivery to the people. Very proactive. He's somebody who's hands-on. He's somebody who's a very strong hard worker. He's somebody he looks for the quickest ways to achieve the results that matter. You know, we had a lot of, the former governor had a nickname. At some point he was nicknamed the MOU governor. And the reason for that was because people heard a lot of that. Oh, we've signed an MOU, we've signed this, we've signed that, we've done this. And initially, in all fairness, when we heard those things, there was celebration and jubilation, but people waited. After a while, these MOUs were not impacting lives. He wasn't fixing roads. He wasn't providing security. You know, at some point, people realized that this is not what we want to continue with. And that was why Senator Monday Okpebholo was elected, because of his unique personality. He's somebody who has strong ethics in public service, in hard work. he's not given to too much talk compared to the last person that we had. He may not be the most flowery talker. He may not speak with the American accent, you know, but he gets the job done. He approaches governance from a bottom-up approach compared to the last administration that was more of a top-bottom approach where you say, I know what you need. I will give you what you need, you know. This governor would rather go and ask the people, what do you need? And how do we get it done in the quickest way? And those...
The quickest legal way, though.
Yes, of course, the quickest legal way. But you see, when we talk about the quickest legal way, I mean, government is still the creator of the legal ways. So whatever needs to be done, if there needs to be an adjustment of, you know, whatever parameters under which that will be developed, it will be done. But the bottom line is that what is the quickest way to solve the problems? And of course, he's leveraging on homegrown solutions for homegrown problems, coming from an administration that seemed to think that all solutions needed to be imported. We needed to bring in consultants to fix this. We needed to bring in people from outside. Quickest ways to solve the quickest problems.
Because we find out that sometimes when governors leave the seat, one of their problems that they have with the new administration is that of procurement processes. You know, they got things done in the way that it was not legally. No, that's why I'm talking about it. Even though government creates the style or the system with which things are done, they need to follow it to the letter.
True.
Now, what is the situation of continuity in Edo State right now? You talked about MOUs that were signed. We would expect that, as they always say, government is a continuum, that this administration will come and look at these MOUs and see how to put action to the words on paper. Is that going on in Edo State, or everything Obaseki is jettisoned?
No, no. Governance is about the good of the people.
Right.
Once a leader has that consciousness, you put aside sentiment, you put aside partisanships, because your focus is on the people's welfare. Now, it's important to mention, for the benefit of our viewers, that the governor came in with a particular challenge, and that was the incomplete transition process, the transition process between the past government and this government that did not happen successfully for reasons that are out there. The cooperation between the team from the governor-elect side and the team from the outgoing governor couldn't. And I mean, the reasons are out there. Still the same elitist mindset where the past administration took the position of, this is what you need, we are giving to you. But the team coming in says, no, there are specific information we require for us to take off smoothly. Provide this and this and this, and they refuse to produce that. Still that mindset of, I know what you need, I'm giving to you. Don't forget, just before somebody says, oh, they didn't understand, or this was a team set up on the part of the governor-elect at that time that had some of the brightest minds and most tested administrators. It was a team headed by former deputy governor. It was a team that had a former secretary to the state government, had chief of staffs, had legislators. So there's nothing about government transition that they couldn't understand, that they couldn't have asked for. Now, because that didn't work out, when the government came in, time and resources had to be committed to assessing the situation and knowing what exactly was on ground. Like some of these MOUs you mentioned, what exactly are the terms of these contracts? On what basis were they executed? What belongs to the Edo State government? And those reports have been copied out. The Assets Verification Committee that was set up by the state governor submitted a report, and I mean, the revelations it was shocking. Before I started by saying it was a group of people with an elitist mindset to commercialize the resources of Edo State for the benefit of a corporate few. It was because of some of the sordid revelations that have come out of that report. So, having done that assessment...
Sorry, I know Ruma is dying to ask you a lot of questions, but these reports that are coming, are they restricted to the Obaseki administration, or it also involves Oshomole? Because past administration...
We have to focus. We expect that the Oshomole administration handed over transition to Obaseki. So we are expecting Obaseki.
So what are some of these sordid revelations that you found?
Okay, so we found out heavy commercialization of Edo State resources, Edo State assets.
To whose benefit?
Things, a corporate few, let's put it like that. The gentlemen in red jackets will get involved very soon, and I think more details will come out. But from what has been shown so far, a lot of things that were celebrated as achievements of the past government on behalf of Edo people, we are finding out it really wasn't.
Interesting.
And I give an example. So the last government celebrated heavily the construction of a 5-star hotel called the Radisson Blue Hotel. Oh, the Edo State government, and everybody was excited because part of the argument at then, or part of the justifications for that project was, oh, now we can host international competitions, and the state will benefit from it. The revelation from the Assets Verification Committee shows that, okay, the Edo State government provided land worth about 2 billion naira, and then went to the market to raise about, I think, 17 billion, if I'm correct, making a total of about 19 billion. That sum constituted 80% of the project cost, which indirectly meant the Edo State government and the Edo State people owned 80% of that business. A few weeks after losing elections, before the new government comes in, somehow, miraculously, the ownership, 80% of the ownership of that project was transferred to a company, a corporate organization. And as it stands today, Edo State owns 20% of that company, while that company owns 80% of that project.
What
so
company?
How does the
is
state that provides 80% of the sum of a project now own 20%? And we saw several other things like that. Several things we felt belong to the Edo people where.
Okay.
But like I said, I don't want to dwell so much on the past government.
Yeah.
This is about the new sheriff in town.
Yeah. So now that the new sheriff is in town, obviously, 100 days is something to celebrate.
Yes,
being the governor of a state, and like you said, governance is about doing what's right for the people.
Yeah.
What are some challenges? Because of course, listening to this right now, finding out this revelation, that poses a major challenge, not just even to the incoming governor, the governor of the state, but to Edo people at large.
Yeah.
So what are some challenges that the administration has faced so far in the first 100 days?
Okay, the challenges will basically, let me start by saying, we have a very humble governor, very soft-spoken, very, left to him, he probably wouldn't have even been celebrating 100 days, but the achievements are just too much to be quiet about, and that's why we're having...
We're going to go to the achievements, but let's start with the challenges first.
The challenges still stem from this, a lot of the challenges still have roots in this improper transition from the past government to this government. So one of the challenges was, of course, undoing some of those wrongs that were done. For example, we had a government in the past that focused heavily on using external consultants to run government. Almost the whole of government was being run by consultants. So the key public servants, the civil servants who were supposed to have been driving the administrative structure of government were like taking a back seat. And we had these consultants from outside who were not carrying the civil service along, basically running things. So transiting that control, of course, a lot of, having reviewed the initial processes, some of those contracts were discontinued and some of those. So having to ensure that civil servants are back driving the administrative structure of government was a bit of a challenge, but the governor successfully navigated that. We're having motivated civil service now with civil servants who are excited about career growth. They know that, you can aspire and hope to work and get to, without having to lose that. So that was one, having to sort all of that out. We also inherited some challenges that were not directly related to
Did you inherit any debt?
The financial is obviously debts were inherited, as if there's almost no government that runs without debts. Debts were inherited, but like I said, the Assets Verification Committee also looked in depth at some of these things, and when the scrutiny of that report is concluded, we'll have specific details about what figures these debts are, but there's almost no government that does not inherit some debts.
All right, let's move over to the achievements.
Well, he talked something about consultants, and maybe
external consultants.
Yes, maybe some people watching now might think to bring external consultants is always a bad thing. For instance, in Lagos, it worked when it came to tax. This thing had to be put in the hands of consultants, and their taxes went up, and their revenue went up, and all that. So. Are you saying that the external consultants were bad on their own, or it's because of the local content that was not there that you are almost like condemning what the president's administration did?
If you apply the right drug for the right treatment, there's a problem. If you do the right thing in the wrong way, there's a problem. If you do the right thing with heavy consequences there's a problem. Consultants are not negative. Use of consultants are not negative. But there are several sides to it. Should you engage consultants for a problem that can be home solved? Do you engage consultants for assignments that your civil service can? We have.
And of course, there's a cost to this as well.
I don't even want to go into that. I mean, the ICT component of the asset verification reports, that close to 70 billion naira, if not or thereabouts. I'm not sure, between 40 to 70 billion naira or thereabouts. I'm not too certain. Heavy sums were committed to different forms of consultancy arrangements. And if you take it a step further, to identify some of the entities behind these consultancies, it just makes it a bit ugly.
So let's go into,
so like I said, basically, the consultants are not. It's not bad in itself, but when you have problems that can be solved locally, there's no need bringing consultants from outside. If the problem cannot be solved locally within the context of the structure you have, the civil service, are there consultants in the state who can handle that? And we had situations where basic functions that could have been handled by consultants in the state or by the civil service,
as long as there's value.
So the first and most important thing is, and that's Governor Monday Okpebholo's ideology, homegrown solutions to homegrown problems. When there's a situation on the ground that needs to be fixed, you first look around to ensure. If the need comes to have to bring in an external consultant, whatever agreement you're having with that consultant must include capacity building so that we don't call you the second time. After you're done with the first one, you should have trained and empowered the people we have on ground to ensure that we don't need to call you the second time.
How feasible is that? Because
depends on the contract you sign. It depends on the agreement you have.
Let's go to what Rume asked. What are these achievements?
So what are some of the achievements that the Monday Okpebholo's administration have had in the first 100 days?
Like I said, it's much, but the governor is running on what we call the SHINE agenda. Now, the SHINE agenda, SHINE is an acronym for security, healthcare, infrastructural development, natural resources, and agriculture, with food security, food sustainability, and education.
I love that.
Yes.
I was going to quarrel if education was.
Our slogan is "In New Edo is Rising." So as the New Edo rises,
you're shining. Oh, I love that's beautiful.
So for security, so much has been done. Let me start from the first few days of office. I'm very sure you agree that Edo State, particularly Benin, has been in the news for one wrong reason that has to do with cult clashes.
Yes, and I was going to say that because I went to Uniben briefly, and I remember in 2008, there was a lot of cults, a lot of cultism.
Yes.
In fact, almost every week, someone is dying. But of course, there was that whole thing whereby you would be prosecuted if you're found to be a part of a cult.
The advantage he has, let me take it from here. So just before swearing in, we had one of those cult clashes and several lives have been lost. You're talking of almost like quite a number in the tent, and immediately the governor came in within a few days using pragmatic, proactive, and engaging strategies, also adopting the carrot and the stick approach. While we're engaging you on one hand, there's a stick waiting on the other hand if you do not comply. That was able to be brought to a stop, and this anti-cultism and kidnapping law was also reviewed with stiffer penalties, for that punishment, and that solved that. And I dare say that we don't really expect to see those kind of things anymore. In terms of equipping and supporting the security agencies, the governor has provided vehicles and operational materials, logistic materials and let me say something interesting about that. The governor provided brand new Hilux vehicles, the Hilux brand of vehicles, which are the usual operational vehicles you have. The past administration, in providing for security agencies in terms of support, despite the huge security vote that they collected, provided rickety second-hand Sienna vehicles. If you're familiar with the Sienna brand of vehicle, I'm not a security expert, but with a little understand about security, I know that for security operatives using a vehicle, they must have easy access and entrance in case of an emergency.
Yes.
Then I think of the Sienna vehicle.
How you open the door?
First have to open it. The guy in front has to first come down before the policeman with his gun at the back struggles out. So till tomorrow, I can't understand the rationale behind that. This governor has provided brand new security vehicles for all the security agencies with other logistic materials, and that has really helped with the improvement. A major ceremony where that will be presented to be done very shortly. He has also reorganized the state security network. What we had before, even though good intentioned, even though well planned, at some point became political. And if we remember in the build up to the election, that outfit was responsible in the death of a police officer that was attached to it. And that led to the IG banning that. The state governor has reorganized that. First things that reorganization handled was mopping up of arms. Over 5,000 arms were mopped up.
Fantastic. So how about the other acronyms?
Infrastructure development,
infrastructure, education.
Let's start with it.
So we have 2 minutes.
Let's start with the major one, the first flyover in Benin. We don't celebrate because it's the first flyover, but it's critical infrastructure for that particular axis. Where that Ramat Park is located is where the traffic coming from Lagos and Benin diverts to the north and to the east, or one part on Agbo Park going to Asaba or Onitsha. So the heavy traffic at that point has necessitated a flyover in that place to ease congestion and to make commuting time better. Several roads have been flagged off, several roads are being worked on, across the state, and I could go on and on. Another very key project that has been worked on has been the Benin Auchi Road. That Benin Auchi Road takes you to Abuja, takes you to the north. So it was at a point that road was gone. A journey that you should actually, a journey from Benin to Ekpoma that should take you those days an hour or less was taking as much as 6 hours because the road was dead. Through engagement, proactive leadership, Senator Monday Okpebolo was able to engage the BOA group, who came in and as part of their social responsibility started working on the road from Auchi to Ekpoma, while the state government started working from Benin to Ekpoma. This was the same situation the former administration found themselves, where they put a huge signboard at the road and say, this is a federal road, please bear with us. But the people who suffer the road are the citizens. Governor Monday Okpebolo has worked on that. In natural resources and agriculture, for the first time, we have the highest amount budgeted for agriculture. Just a few days ago, the governor, his deputy, the chief of staff, and the secretary to the state government went into the bush to meet with a farm settlement to tell them what the plan for agriculture was. Over 70 billion has been budgeted for that, to empower farmers. Education schools are being renovated everywhere. The Ambuzali University was in crisis because of this same thing I talked about, external solutions for local problems. In the last administration, the school ran for a long time without a governing council. A contraption called the Special Intervention Team or something was set up to run the university. That created problems with the unions, that created problems in administration. The governor has considered the governing council, ably headed by a statesman, has increased subvention from 41 million to 500 million. Among so many other
these are some really good achievements.
Yes.
So finally, would you say that the people, don't be sentimental.
Yes.
Would you say that the people of Edo State are really happy with the choice of Monday Okpebolo?
Yes, for the major reason that the past government was a government that was disconnected from them. This time they have an empathetic governor, they have a humble governor, they have a proactive governor, they have a governor who drives his policy through engagement with them first. They have a governor who listens. Like I said, he's not into flowery words and
a little thing. A little thing.
Yeah.
You have said finally. Let me just ask a little thing. With all these lofty achievements and dream for Edo State, we also are wondering what is happening in Edo State now. We know that there's still litigations, and we know that the local government chairmen were sacked, and that was something that brought a little problem to Edo State. How are you facing that? How are you ironing that out?
The local government's chairmen were impeached by their councillors. So let's correct that. The government did not sack them.
The governor started giving reasons why they were impeached. It means the reason came from him. The frauds and all that.
The constitution gives the governor some level of oversight over local governments, So when the governor came in, there were heavy allegations of fraud and mismanagement of resources going on in the local government. And as a responsible governor, he wrote to them and said, let me have an idea of what your financial situation is. They didn't cooperate, they didn't respond. He wrote a letter to the House of Assembly explaining what was happening. The House of Assembly, in their wisdom, decided, okay, for proper investigation to be done, these people needed to be suspended from office, and that was done. Of course, while the suspension was still on, some of the councillors who probably wanted to align with this new purposeful government went about and impeached those
So how are you guys
chairmen.
finding out, like going on about the litigation and stuff?
Yes, so some went to court, and that matter is still a subject of litigation, so it's not something we'll be able to say too much about. But the governor is ready to work with local government chairmen or local government leaders who are committed, who share his vision of commitment to the people. Governance must be about the people, not an elitist few.
Well, I love that. Governance must be about the people. And I love the fact that, you know, in the first 100 days, there's been quite a number of achievements, even though, I mean, you are part of the government, so you would obviously come and rain on the horses and say, yes, we're doing this.
The things I've said are there for verification.
Great. We just hope that, you know, this is what we want to see in Nigeria. So we hope that this continues in Edo State, and not just even in Edo State, other states as well, because what we want is a government that listens to the people, that engages the people, and is for the greater good of all Nigerians.
And respects the rule of law.
Yes, and respect the rule of law, very important. But we want to say thank you, Boogie, for coming. It was a pleasure having you this morning.
Thank you. We look forward to having you in Benin to come and see and have an independent.
We will. Invite us and we will come.
The outstanding results of practical governance from Governor Monday Okpebholo.
Fantastic.
Nice. Thank you.
Over in speaking with Boogie Okwemo, he's a special advisor on media and publicity to the Edo State governor. And we've just been looking at the fact that, well, they've spent 100 days in office, and we're talking all the achievements, reviewing Monday Okpebholo's Renewing Hope agenda in Edo State. This is where we have to wrap it up on the show today. Thank you so much for having the breakfast with us. My name is Reme Paulson.
And I am Nyamgul Agaji. Let's rejoin tomorrow, or let's meet again tomorrow for the breakfast. What am I saying?
Have a wonderful day. Good morning.
What we do not understand, we will stigmatize.
What you can see is the remaining of the tanker that exploded.
He suffered equally confessed.
Now 500 naira they collect them. If you no talk, then go beat you. Now 2,500 and they pay.
Businesses in Africa can be very challenging. In Nigeria, it is particularly intimidating, and successful builders have learned how to navigate a hostile environment to unlock opportunities. But one major challenge businesses face is how to filter through the noise and identify where their ideal customers exist. Get insight and practical steps from industry players and captains of industries. Hear success stories to help you make informed decisions as you scale your business in Nigeria. Watch Business Insights at this time on Plus TV Africa.
Welcome to this edition of Timeless Conversations. We welcome Remy Ogunpito. He's the founder and managing director of IBST Limited. For quite a period of time, almost like a year, I didn't know what to do. I think that we don't invest enough in our people. You said your dad was a politician. Yes. Are you a politician? No way.
Timeless Conversation, showing on Saturdays at 8:30 p.m. on Plus TV Africa.
Hello and welcome. My name is Nyamgul Agaji. This is the News Brief. Amid the leadership crisis rocking the Lagos State House of Assembly, lawmakers on Monday passed a vote of confidence on the Speaker, Prince Ad, the Speaker Moshood, after which the remaining 34 lawmakers passed a vote of confidence on the Speaker, Mojisola Meranda. Department of the State Security, DSS, and Nigerian Police Force reportedly took over the Assembly complex earlier to ensure adequate security during the plenary. After the vote of confidence, the House adjourned sitting till further notice. The Lagos State House of Assembly has suspended plenary indefinitely following the security breach at the premises of the Assembly on Monday. Tensions escalated in the Assembly as security personnel reportedly from the SSS entered the Assembly premises and locked the Deputy Speaker's office before the start of the plenary session. This action led to a standoff between lawmakers and security officers, with the lawmakers eventually regaining access to the Assembly. During the plenary session, the lawmakers addressed the security breach and passed a vote of confidence on the Speaker, Mojisola Meranda, elected as the female Speaker, the first female Speaker of the Lagos Legislature on January 13, 2025, following the removal of Mudashiru Obasa. They also resolved to investigate the incident and report their findings to the President Bola Tinubu and the SSS Director General Oluwatosin Ajayi. The invasion of the Lagos State House of Assembly on Monday by security operatives has taken a new twist. A letter has emerged disclosing that the House had requested the Department of State Services, DSS, to strengthen security around the Assembly complex ahead of February 18, 2025. The letter cited reports that the impeached Speaker, Mudashiru Obasa, planned to return to the position. The development followed a leadership crisis in the State Assembly. The acting clerk of the House, in the letter dated February 14, 2025, and signed by Abubakar Otun, warned that Obasa's attempt to resume office could pose a security threat to the Assembly and its members. The House therefore urged the DSS to deploy operatives from February 16 to enforce strict access control within and around the premises. The Police Service Commission has approved the appointment of Olohundare Moshood Jimo as the Commissioner of Police, Lagos State Command. A statement by the head of press and public relations of the Commission, Ike Chukwani, says Jimo, before his appointment, was Commissioner of Police, Ports Authority, Eastern Ports. Jimo, who hails from Kwara State, was a former Force Public Relations Officer and later Deputy Commissioner of Airport Police, Deputy Commissioner, Finance and Administration, and Deputy Commissioner, General Investigation. The new Lagos Commissioner appeared before the Commission's Chairman, DIG Hashimu Argungu, Justice Adamu Paul Galmuje, retired Justice of the Supreme Court and Honorable Commissioner representing the Judiciary, and DIG Taiwo Lakonu, Honorable Commissioner representing the Police. A Kano State High Court has ruled that the federal government should not tamper with the funds belonging to 44 local governments of the state. The ruling was delivered on Monday by Justice Musa Ibrahim Karaye after reviewing the evidence presented by the local government representatives. Initially, the opposition All Progressives Congress APC had sought a court order to stop the disbursement of funds to the local governments, alleging irregularities in the local government elections. conducted by the State Electoral Commission in October 2024. Earlier, the court has issued or had issued an interim order directing the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, the Federation Accounts Allocation Committee, FAAC, the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation, and all commercial banks not to tamper with the funds until the case was concluded. Justice Inyang Ikwo of the Federal High Court in Abuja has granted an application by a former Minister of Petroleum, Desiane Alison Madueke, to amend her suit challenging the order obtained by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, for financial forfeiture of her seized assets. Justice Ikwo granted the request after the motion was moved by Desiane's lawyer, Godwin Inyimbo, and the EFCC's counsel, Divine Oguru, did not oppose it. At the day's proceedings, Inyimbo informed the court that they had already filed a motion for amendment of their originating process and the defendant had been duly served. Oguru did not raise any objections to the ex-minister's plea to amend her suit, and Justice Ikwo granted it as prayed. The judge gave Desiane 5 days to file and serve the amended process and granted EFCC 14 days from the date of service to respond. The matter was subsequently adjourned until March 17 for further mention. The sacked chairman of Irewole local government, Osun State, Remi Abbas, has been shot dead by unknown gunmen at the local government secretariat in Ikire. Eyewitnesses said the attackers stormed the secretariat in broad daylight on Monday, firing multiple gunshots. The Osun State Police Public Relations Officer, SP Yemisio Kwalola, confirmed the incident and stated that investigations had begun. Abbas was among the local government chairmen elected on the platform of the All Progressives Congress APC, sacked by the Federal High Court sitting in Oshogbo in November 2022. Meanwhile, 2 persons have also been confirmed dead in Borikwe local government area of the state over the fracas that erupted when some hoodlums allegedly working for the People's Democratic Party, PDP, and the All Progressives Congress APC attempted to take over the council. The victims, whose names were given as Ege and Igara, according to eyewitnesses, were shot dead by hoodlums. Members of the National Assembly Osun State Caucus have condemned the political happenings in Osun State in the past few days following the judicial pronouncement on the local government election conducted on the 15th of October 2022. The federal lawmakers, who are made up of 3 senators and 9 House of Representatives members, through their leader, Honorable Bamidele Salam, condemned what they described as a brazen effrontery of the sacked APC local government council officials to return to office through criminal takeover and forceful entry of all local government secretariats across the state.
We use this medium to condemn the brazen effrontery of the sacked local government council officials to return to office, notwithstanding the yet to be set aside decision in spite of a subsisting judgment of the Court of Appeal, which has not been appealed by the All Progressive Congress or these dramatic personnel themselves. This local government chairman decided, this former local government chairman decided to invade local government secretariats across the 30 local government of Osun State today. The people of Osun State woke up to the criminal takeover of the local government secretariat across the state by these sacked officials who forcefully broke into the premises of the councils in several local governments, aided by thugs and hooligans who have been shooting sporadically, wreaking havoc on the people of the state, thereby constituting a very great nuisance and danger to the peaceful people of Osun State. Sadly, this is being perpetrated with the support of some security personnel, relying on a non-existent judgment of the Court of Appeal.
The caucus blamed the actions of the APC local government officials on the judgment of the appeal court in Akure on the 10th of February 2025, which struck out the earlier judgment obtained by the PDP to sack the products of 2022 local government election in the state.
We hereby call on His Excellency, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and the Commander-in-Chief, who is the father of the nation, His Excellency President Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and of course to all well-meaning persons, organizations, and groups, civil society, the media, and the international community, to call to order security personnel who are aiding and abetting this violation of the ground norm of Nigeria, which is the Nigerian Constitution, and the sanctity of the judiciary. We call on Mr. President to instruct the National Security Advisor and the Attorney General of the Federation to properly advise the leaders of the All Progressive Congress in Osun State to toe the line of constitutionality and legality. Once you have lodged an appeal against a matter in a court, it goes against common sense, it goes against reason, it goes against good conscience to come around and seek to use barbaric methods to impose your own will on the peaceful people of a state.
Recall that Governor of Osun State, Senator Ademola Adeleke, had in a World Press Conference on Sunday, 16th of February 2025, appealed to President Tinubu to rein in his minister and his attempt to influence the security forces in the state to perpetrate the illegal and forceful takeover in the state. Resumption of sacked council officers or officials in Osun State who resumed to office following appeal court judgment have triggered pockets of crisis in some council areas and has reportedly led to yet to be identified casualties. The embattled council chairman stormed some of the councils like Ayedade and Borikwe as early as 8 a.m. to take over, but met with resistance in some other area councils in the capital city and other parts of the state. One of the reinstated council chairmen in Iriwole local government, Remi Abbas, was reportedly killed by the suspected hoodlums. Also, there were other reported killings in Borikwe and Olaoluwa local government area of the state.
We are here to obey to follow the law. Because Nigeria law, the judiciary, they have done a right thing. They have checked our case, and they said that we are the authentic chairman and councillors, and they order us to go back to our work. So we are here to follow the rule of the law. And we are doing it peacefully. We are not fighting with anybody. We are just doing what is right. And luckily, nobody's, because the other people, they know that they are not the right occupant of the place. So they are nowhere to be found.
So we are just here, we are law-abiding people. We are just here to enforce what the law says. And we have come to stay. And we are just enjoying the Nuge people that they should not play with their job. We just give them 24 hours, maximum 48 hours. We will bring the registered out for people that are looking for job, because they are not supposed to take sides. Their own is to do their job. As you can see, there is peace. But
unfortunately, one of the thug, Shogo Agbola, aka Ado, shot directly to our boys, our party members, and which led to their death. I think we lost 2 of them. Banik was there also while they were shooting, and he was the one directing the operation. So before we knew it, before we rushed them down to the hospital, they gave up the ghost. And presently, we have about 3 to 4 of our boys that sustained, 6 of our boys, party members, that sustained gun shots. We pray that God will sustain their life.
A military airstrike targeting bandits mistakenly claimed the lives of 6 persons at Yaoni community in Zaka ward in Safana local government area of Katsina State. This tragic incident, however, left the community in great shock and pandemonium. Security sources said those killed were mostly single family members comprising 3 children, a man and 2 women. The incident, which occurred in the aftermath of Saturday's local government elections, occurred after security operatives attempted to thwart an attack planned by bandits against voters in Zaka village. Eyewitness recalled that security forces comprising the police and members of the State Community Watch Corps, CWC, engaged the bandits in a fierce gun battle where the 2 police officers and a CWC operative were killed on the spot in a gun battle. The source explained that another officer who sustained various injuries later succumbed to death. At least 200,000 Nigerian students have received over 22 billion naira in loan. The managing director of Nigerian Education Loan Fund, Akintunde Sawyer, disclosed this at a press conference in Abuja on Monday, while noting that the 2023-2024 application will close on February 21, 2025. He further announced that the 2024-2025 application will open on February 22. Recall that in December last year, the federal government announced a fresh approval of 110 billion naira for students' public tertiary institutions nationwide. In November 2024, Sawyer told the House of Representatives Committee on Student Loans and Higher Education Financing that NEL Fund had disbursed 12 billion naira to students as loans. Aline Dume, senator representing Borno South, has reacted to the Canadian visa denial of Christopher Musa, Nigeria's Chief of Defense Staff, CDS. Last week, Musa revealed that the Canadian High Commission denied visas to him and other top military officers, preventing them from attending an event honoring war veterans. Speaking at an event in Abuja, the CDS stated that he was supposed to be in Canada last Wednesday. Musa described the incident as a stark reminder that Nigeria must learn to be self-reliant and should not be taken for granted. At the same event, National Security Advisor NSA Nuhu Ribadu expressed his displeasure over the situation. The visa denial also sparked widespread criticisms from Nigerians on social media who condemned the decision to reject the CDS, Nigeria's highest-ranking military officer and principal military advisor to the president. The Canadian High Commission in Nigeria acknowledged the media reports but declined to comment on the specifics of the visa denial, citing privacy reasons. The Zamfara State Ministry of Education, under the Adolescent Girls Initiative for Learning and Empowerment Agile project, in collaboration with the Civil Society Action Coalition on Education for All, has organized a two-day training for second chance education facilitators. The workshop aims to equip facilitators with essential skills in literacy, numeracy, vocational training, reproductive health, and digital literacy, enhancing their capacity to provide quality education and empowerment opportunities for out-of-school adolescents, particularly girls. Details in this report.
Second Chance Education is a non-formal education program designed to reintegrate out-of-school girls into learning environments where they can acquire literacy, numeracy, vocational skills, reproductive health knowledge, and digital literacy. The program is designed to support adolescent girls and young women who missed out on formal education due to various socio-economic challenges. The initiative seeks to bridge the learning gap by providing alternative learning pathways and equipping beneficiaries with relevant life skills for self-reliance.
Rest assurance, Second Chance Education under the administration of His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Zamfara State, Dr. Dauda Lawal, through the Ministry of Education, Science and Technology, under the leadership of our Honorable Commissioner, Malam Wadatau Madawaki, offers these girls a lifeline to gain literacy, digital skills, vocational training to empower them for a better future.
Speaking at the opening ceremony, the Zamfara State Commissioner for Education, Science and Technology, Wadato Madawaki, emphasized the importance of continuous capacity building for facilitators, ensuring they are well prepared to mentor and educate young learners effectively.
If the girl is given quality education, especially if she is provided with skills that will assist her in contributing her own quota into the upkeep of the home, then she will also assist the husband in ensuring that the house is kept intact.
The Deputy Project Coordinator of Agile, Dr. Sali Sudal Hatu, highlighted the project's commitment to promoting inclusive education, particularly for marginalized girls in rural communities.
Yeah, there has been a training manual curriculum for the second chance education opportunities, and therefore the participants selected to benefit from this intervention have to be trained by facilitators. So these facilitators are selected across the 14 LGAs of the state, 75 of them.
The training is expected to have a lasting impact on education accessibility and empowerment for adolescent girls in Zamfara State, contributing to the overall goal of reducing the rate of out-of-school children and promoting lifelong learning opportunities.
Ugandan opposition leader Kizza Besigye was transferred back to prison on Monday after a medical emergency caused by his ongoing hunger strike, which has now lasted a week. Four-time presidential candidate Kizza Besigye, who has been in detention since his abduction from Kenya on November 16, is infirm and experiences episodes of hypertension, according to his lawyer Erias Lukwago. The 68-year-old politician has been on hunger strike for some days, protesting his arrest and detention. A military tribunal in Kampala has charged Besigye and an assistant with offenses related to illegal possession of a firearm and threatening national security. Besigye also faces a separate charge of treachery, a crime under military law that carries the death penalty. The military trial of Besigye has angered his supporters and drawn concern from rights groups. Amnesty International has called for Besigye's release, saying his abduction clearly violates international human rights law and the process of extradition with its requisite fair trial protections. Uganda's Supreme Court ruled last month that civilians can't be court-martialed, questioning the competence of untrained military officers to dispense justice. But I'll move from other parts of Africa to outside Africa now. Pope Francis is currently reported to be in critical condition, with the Vatican revealing that his respiratory tract infection has resulted in a complex clinical procedure necessitating extended hospitalization. However, no specific timeline has been provided for the 88-year-old's release. Two Nigerian nuns, Sister Mary Lucy Okowulu and Sister Mary Beatrice Nengi, sat outside the hospital near the statue of John Paul II, offering prayers for the Pope's recovery. Sister Mary Lucy expressed their support, stating they were there to pray for the Pope, who is unwell. In her own words, Sister Mary Beatrice reflected on the Pope's condition and expressed hope on God alone. Later updates reported that the Pope's fever had subsided and his condition had stabilized. We'll now go on a short break. We'll be back in a moment. Stay with us.
This is it. I will take you through this amazingness today.
Welcome to Cross Trending. I am Buki November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on Plus TV Africa.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
You're welcome back. A sad piece of information reaching us just now is that former Federal Commissioner for Information and South-South leader Edwin Clark is dead. The Pan-Niger Delta Forum PANDEV leader died at 97 on Monday night, according to a statement signed by the Professor C.C. Clark for the family. This comes days after Afenifere leader Ayo Adebanjo's death. Adebanjo was aged 96. We will bring you details in subsequent bulletins. And that's the news brief. Thanks for staying with us. My name is Nyamgul Agaj.
Everyone talks about getting their dream jobs, but what does it take to get that dream job? In a religious society like Nigeria, some people resort to prayer, but did you know that sometimes the only reason you're not getting the job isn't because you don't have the credentials? Many times about how well you can defend your credentials through your presentation and communication skills during the interview. According to the National Bureau of Statistics, the rate of unemployment in Nigeria rose to 33.3% in December 2020 from a 27.1% in 3 months. Interview phobia is a major issue that contributes to unemployment in the country. Some individuals are employable but don't know how to express themselves properly, present their resumes, and network effectively. An expert spoke to us about interview phobia and how it has increased the rate of unemployment within the country.
Okay, so I mentioned I struggled. I went to Lagos State University, Public University. Nobody taught you any of these things. And so I thought that if I come to the interview space, I would do well because I know I'm good enough. But coming in, it was difficult. I got plenty of rejections. And I made up my mind that if you can get past this thing, you would help other people who are also like you. And so sitting down in that space, I also see people like me and I feel for them.
According to Student Graduate Report, more than 50% of graduates in Nigeria disclose that communication skill is the least skill their academic education prepared them with.
Like we have a compulsory NYSC every year. I believe the government or the educational sector should do something like when they know somebody's in their final year, maybe they allow them go through a month or so, or they introduce a course and make it mandatory for them to be able to go out there and face the outside world when it comes to interviews, when it comes to networking and all of that. I've seen super amazing, intelligent people lost opportunities because they were not confident, and those who were not so smart but have built their confidence are able to get the job and get these networks and get these opportunities. Especially when you come from a Yoruba or Igbo family where you don't have to look at your dad in the eye. You get that kind of thing. So you have to learn to look at people in the eye when you talk to them. It makes them believe that you are not up to something. You're not hiding anything in your cupboard.
We're going to school or having to
attend different schools, all right, they just teach us, we only have syllabus on what they've been doing so far in past years, and there's no trend of bringing in new things.
So the next time you complain about not getting a job, think about how well your CV is prepared. Assess your communication skills during the interview and think about how well you presented yourself.
Nigeria is home to a vibrant and expansive MSME sector with over 39.6 million businesses making up an impressive 96.7% of all enterprises in the country. Now, what's even more inspiring is that 67% of these businesses are led by young entrepreneurs, showcasing the dynamism and innovation of Nigeria's youths. In 2023, MSMEs played a pivotal role in Nigeria's economy, contributing over 43% to the nation's GDP. At the heart of this sector is the micro segment, which accounts for 96.9% of these businesses and is responsible for nearly 90% of the country's employment opportunities. As MSMEs continue to grow, they not only drive inclusive economic development, but also open doors to prosperity for countless individuals across the nation. However, for these businesses to truly thrive, the right environment must be nurtured. This is why improving the ease of doing business at Nigeria's subnational level remains a critical focus for investors and entrepreneurs alike, especially as they navigate the current economic challenges. In this episode of Business Insight and Plus TV Africa, we'll explore these issues and more, shedding light on how they impact entrepreneurship in Nigeria. I'm Justin Akadonye, and I'm excited to have you join us on this show. Welcome. All right, the Ogun State government has pledged to create more opportunities for business growth, industrialization, trade and investment, both within the state and beyond. Governor Abiodun shared this exciting commitment during the 14th Gateway International Trade Fair in Abeokuta, the heart of Ogun State. It is a clear sign of the state's dedication to fostering a thriving economic environment for businesses and investors alike. Take a look. Represented by the Commissioner for Agriculture and Food Security, Honorable Bolu Owotomo, he assured that his administration will continue to champion policies that drive industrialization, enhance trade, and attract investment. The president of the National Chamber of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Agriculture, Nasima Dele Oye, disclosed that the chamber is already partnering with Germany to import some machines for agro-processing.
The thing for this year's fair, promoting business partnerships, is both timely and profound. It underscores the critical role of collaboration in driving economic growth. As an institution, we recognize that this theme is more than just a slogan. It is a call to action for all of us. In today's rapidly evolving global economy, the strength of business lies not just in individual effort, but in the collective power of strategic partnerships.
Like you are aware, the Mr. President has already advanced calls to reduce the cost of inflation to 15%. For you to be able to do that, the operating environment must be conducive for businesses to grow. What does business need to grow? The factors of production. You need reasonable price capital. So if the budget is just 54 billion, they just increase it now, new food prices will generate half. If we are saying government should provide an enabling environment, we are not asking for government to dash us money. All we are asking, they want us to generate the entire 54 trillion, then you give us reasonable price capital.
On his part, the Chief Executive Officer of CCI Jason Friedberg, a German Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Dr. Matthias Leder, called for an improved foreign trade balance between Nigeria and the Republic of Germany. Leder, who bemoans the below 1% volume of trade between the two countries, said both nations must put efforts in place to improve the situation for the benefit of the two countries.
There are some means how to improve the trade balances between Europe and Africa and Germany and Nigeria. So you cannot read the numbers here, you just have to keep in mind China in the 80s has been much less developed than Nigeria. And today we have much more trade with China than we do have with Nigeria. And the question is, why is it like this? And what can we do to change the situation? Because if we change the situation, the welfare of Nigeria will grow.
He noted that the balance of trade between Germany and Africa, particularly Nigeria, compared to Brazil and the Republic of China, is very uneven. Welcome back from that report. Nigeria's ease of doing business is ranked 131st out of 190 countries globally, according to the World Bank's annual Ease of Doing Business report. Now, this ranking is based on how easy it is to do business in a country, including the regulatory environment and property right protection. Now, since 2015, Nigeria's federal government has recognized the importance of doing business or monitoring the subnational ease of doing business performance and has implemented measures to enhance it. This includes the establishment of the Presidential Enabling Business Environment Council, PBEC, to address bureaucratic constraint and improve stakeholders' perceptions of Nigeria's business environment. Now, since 2017, PBEC's framework has extended to the subnational level, encompassing all states in Nigeria. I am now being joined by research and policy analyst, Ominira Initiative for Economic Development, Bayonle Fesobi. Many thanks for joining me, Bayo.
Thank you very much, Austin. It's a pleasure.
All right, let's start here. Bayo, it's been about 8 years since the establishment of PBEC, with Nigeria currently ranked 131st globally in the ease of doing business. What steps can be taken to improve this ranking?
Thanks so much, Justin. No doubt the Presidential Enabling Business Environment Council is doing quite a lot. And, the business of how helping Nigerians to improve their registration and all of that. But you see, to ease doing business in Nigeria, PBEC needs to do a lot more. To help more Nigerian businesses grow, PBEC definitely needs to do more. The challenge is not how to improve our ranking, but the challenge is, are we ready to do these things that would help this ranking improve? And like I said, not just the ranking, but doing some of these certain things would help the economy grow, would help the everyday Nigerian business to thrive. From business registration and regulatory process, just you and I know that today, despite the digitization of the process by Corporate Affairs Commission, CAC, the process remains relatively cumbersome. And you see, a lot of Nigerian businesses still remain in the informal sector. 2024 report of the Bank of Industry reported that over 40 million SMEs are still in the informal sector, that is, they are unregistered. And that means a whole bulk of 90% of Nigeria's GDP is not being accounted for. And why is this becoming so? If you ever dream of having to start a business in Nigeria, if you want to get, your business registered and all of that, the capital you need, the amount of money you need to spend on getting these businesses registered is even almost, equating to the capital you need to set up the business itself. And then it becomes more cumbersome with permit, compliances, and remittances you need to turn in almost every other time. The process is designed not to be convenient enough for ordinary Nigerian businesses to thrive. You would wonder how this becomes very, very, very cumbersome. Neck-breaking bureaucracies, and the process is becoming too difficult, to obtain the permit, and then it becomes quite difficult, challenging for business owners to get their businesses registered. And once businesses are not registered, it becomes difficult for them to operate like a legal entity. Now, once we fix that, that means more persons would bring their businesses upfront into a legal space to operate. Now, once we have done that, the next thing is to move into policy consistency. All this back and forth that we get from everywhere only helps us to move 5 steps forward and 7 steps backward. Inconsistent economic policy does not help us to improve our ranking, and it does not also help Nigerian businesses to thrive. Again, we need to promote infrastructure. Justin, security is still on. Yes?
No, I got all that. I just wanted to just butt in very quickly, in as much as we have talked about some of these challenges and bottlenecks. But the first quarter of this year, 2025, is just about ending in March and all of that. But let's still project your outlook for this year, 2025. Are there specific goals or milestones we should be aiming for?
Yes, Justin, there are specific goals and milestones we should be aiming for, even as an economy. Nigeria's economy should be looking forward to getting much of some inconsistencies from the foreign exchange influx. What do I mean by that? There are a lot of inconsistencies that come in from the global financial economy that the foreign exchange helps us not to really, get a win of. You would agree with me on this, because you see that Nigerians' economy relies solely on imports. We operate an import economy, and this will continue to. Justin, are you there? Sorry.
Yeah, I can hear you. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Nigeria's economy is an import economy, and until we are able to fix our foreign exchange, specific goals that we need to attain this year will be to balance the foreign exchange market and to see how the Nigerian import economy is balanced in a way. Secondly, it's also important for us to look at the milestone of getting the ease of doing business ranking up. How do we get this done? By making sure that we move a huge chunk of businesses from the informal sector into the formal sector. Again, we need to bring down the regulatory structures and make it less cumbersome. We need to also ensure that the talent market is working properly for us, that the digital economy is bringing the returns that we desire, and that the government is doing enough to ensure that infrastructure and security is guaranteed to ensure that businesses thrive in Nigeria.
All right, well said, Bayo. But let's move on right now. In as much as you have highlighted some of these challenges affecting the ease of doing business in Nigeria today, let's zoom in on the sub-national level. How would you rate their progress across Nigeria's state, across the 36 states of the Federation, and of course the FCT? And where do you see the most room for improvement?
Thank you, Justin. With an average annual GDP growth of 8.6 from 1999 to about 2010, Nigeria's economy has experienced a lot of decline in the past years, the low going to as far back as 2.9% in 2023. And this is not rocket science. It's just caused by a high rate of inflation and a staggering global economy, of course, which has a ripple effect on the local economy. However, we cannot disagree with the disparity that affects business climate in each state of the Federation. But statistics from the 2023 PEBE, shows us that Gombe is doing very well with 7.15 score in ease of doing business, and Jigawa is following with 6.88. But because of, infrastructure, regulatory environment, Abia State seems to be glowing with much more improvement and moving from 33 to 21 on the rankings. There is a lot that needs to be done in terms of accessibility to information, skills and labor, and as well as a secured and stable environment, which is what counts as, things that we need to do to provide the enabling environment for businesses to thrive. The room for improvement lies in the need for government structures to demystify and make it less stressful to access information, for skills and labor to be accessible and, of course, at the reach of business owners, and to provide a secured and stable environment for which businesses can thrive. We agree with you that businesses cannot work where there are security challenges. You cannot trade in fear, and it becomes very, very, very important for you to protect your businesses and then be able to ensure that the money you invest into your business is giving you enough returns to make the business continue to stay in the economy.
All right, let's talk about entrepreneurship development now. We know the particular issues we have in Nigeria, and it comes with its fair share of challenges.
Businesses need a business you do. But you see, these are very, very important. And what makes up operational cost, could be power supply, could be road network, could be high cost of logistics, or probably the import of raw materials for the production of goods or services that you provide in your business. Now, when we sum up all of these things, businesses need to rise up to the challenge that the inflation is biting hard into the economy, and they need to be dynamic enough to realize this. Now, having said that, it's also very important to understand the fact that businesses would not just fix themselves. The Nigerian economy is a good mix of the opportunities and the challenges. Business owners will thrive if they are able to get some of these insights very well. Freedom in Nigeria conference we hosted last year was one of the ways which we bring in expert opinions on some of these things. But depending on the current level and status of your business, it's very important that your business stays adapted to economic realities of the inflation, reduce reliance on imported materials, and then so that you are able to reduce the effect that the foreign exchange fluctuations will have on your business. And in cases where your business cannot bypass this, so that you are able to improve your profit margin, then you need to monitor the exchange rate properly, and then rely on the use of reliable financial tools to monitor currency volatility. Again, is the need for business owners to leverage on the benefit of technology and digital solutions. Automate most of your processes and use the e-commerce to get for yourself new customers, build your client base, expand, and make transactions seamless. With digital payment platforms like Flutterwave, like Paystack, you need to build a customer base where you are able to get your business out there to the hands of your customers with or no hassle. And how do I mean? You need to ensure that from start to finish, from engagement to delivery, your business is as automated as much as possible, and you are on top of the game. Now, you cannot overemphasize or underestimate the power of social media here, because this is where you get to know where the programs that are relevant to your business is going on, where the community of like-minded business owners like you are learning new trends and patterns. And this is where you can build the network that your business needs to improve customer engagement, build brand loyalty, and then aid customer retention and growth. And then you can see your business booming if you are able to bring in some of these factors that will help your business to grow.
Well, it's interesting all that you've said. You talked about automation, and you talked about using social media as much as possible. But sometimes the issues at the macroeconomic level, could be just so tough, even for the little business who earns as much as maybe 50,000 per month can survive. But let's just move on anyway. But you will agree with me that young Nigerians are full of potentials and ideas. But how can we better encourage and support entrepreneurship among the youths?
There is a talent shortage in Nigeria. Many graduates are lacking and do not have the required soft skills that would get them employment. Even business owners do not have the required knowledge that would help them to get their businesses from 0 to 10. These factors have given room for a lot of brain drain. So we see high rate of immigration of skilled professionals, especially in the tech and healthcare sector, which has reduced the availability of the quality talent that we have. The rest that we are left with do not meet up with the expectation. You will be shocked that we now have, shortage of doctor to patient ratio in Nigeria, and then we have shortage of skilled healthcare workers, which have contributed to, the dropping quality of medical services in Nigeria. The majority of Nigerian graduates in Nigeria who are expected to be in the workforce, in the labor market, do not have these technical and soft skills required. Therefore, it's very, very important that as talented as Nigeria is, as much as we speak of the potential that Nigeria has, it is also important that entrepreneurship among young persons should be encouraged. How can we encourage this? Is by helping them to build the required skill set that they need. Now, you would agree that many businesses struggle to get loan, and they are unable to combine venture capital with flexible financial options. It's impossible for businesses to start and remain sustainable, let alone thrive and upscale. Because another issue that we have for young people now, who having scaled up that challenge of, all right, there is the right skill, there is the right skill set, we now have to move to access to finance. Bottleneck bureaucratic again with business banks and then financial institutions not being able to provide, finance access to capital for businesses that can strive and sustain themselves in Nigeria. Another issue that we have is disruption in supply chains. You agree with me that Nigeria's logistics sector still has a lot of challenges, from security to bad route network to, all forms of government interventions that have impacted doing business in Nigeria. The reason why some food products or foodstuff items are costlier in a particular region than the other is simply because of transportation. True. Because they need to move some of these items from one location to the other. So for young people who want, yes.
Just wrap up your thought first, then just wrap up what you were going to say.
So for young people who want to embark on businesses like that, they need to factor in those. So for young people who want to venture into those kind of business, they need to factor in a lot of options to be able to navigate the challenges so that they are able to sustain the supply chain and then be able to keep their business.
As we round off now, very quickly, in a minute now, Bayo, for those looking to succeed in business, I know we've talked about all of the issues. We talked about how the environment is not stable for small business and even the macro businesses to thrive. But I'm sure there are some key factors for growth and long-term success, not just in the short term. What would you advise very quickly as we round off?
Thank you so much, Justin. Beyond innovation and finance, every business that aims to grow and aiming for long-term success should be dedicated to a strong understanding of how the market works. You need to leverage on your comparative advantage, what we usually call the unique selling point. What do you do better than others do not? Again, there is financial discipline for SMEs, which is very, very important, so that you're able to differentiate your personal money from your business money. Now that your business is still under 1 million, 3 million, or less than that, how do you run the proper accounting records that that your business would need to survive in the next 5 years, where your business is about 10 million, 15 million. Again, you need to stay digital. You need to renew your strategy because the digital economy is not static and it keeps evolving. You also need to be consistent with market trends. Bring in your A game to innovation and focus on long term. And then we're encouraging government to reduce the compliance and proper documentation for ease of business, it's also important for you to think of how you can benefit from some of these things when they are done.
All right, thank you so much. Indeed, Bayo, we need to focus on all of these, useful insight that you have mentioned, so businesses and, of course, young people can thrive, and the ease of doing business in Nigeria can actually be improved. I have been speaking with Bayonle, and we have been looking, Bayonle Fesobi, Research and Policy Analyst, Ominira Initiative for Economic Development, and we have been looking at the ease of doing business and, of course, entrepreneurship development in Nigeria. Many thanks once again, Bayo, for your time on the show.
It's my pleasure, Justin. Thank you so much.
All right, that's the size of the show for today. I am Justin Akadonye. See you again next time. Bye for now.
Sometimes when we see celebrities either on social media, television, or in person, we assume they have it all together, but we forget that they're also human. Well, here are some of the low points of some of your favorite celebrities.
My story. Okay. The very first time I acted, and I got back home, it was actually with Regina. When the film came out, it was hard on me because my not necessarily my parents, but my grandparents didn't think what I did was good because of the role I played in that film. So they banned me from acting completely. Like, I should just face my studies and that's it. So it burst my bubble, but I used to I kept pushing, I kept trying to prove to them that, I could actually act and act good parts. But sometimes I have to be a bad person. But slowly they, with time they accepted it and loved me for who I was. And I am who I am today. I never gave up, basically. Even if my parents were not in sync, not my parents, not really. My dad was always agreeing with what I did. My grandparents, my great aunts especially, my grandmother's sisters, they didn't really like what I was doing, but I never gave up. So my dream stayed alive. And that's it. Keep your dream alive.
I remember when I was much younger, I was trying to sing, because I'm also a singer, and there was this young artist that's just been released by a big name producer, and along the line, I liked the music, I liked everything about what she did, and so I decided to look for the producer. And I walked up to the producer, and I was told I couldn't see him, and they told me I should come early in the morning at EMI. It was called EMI Music then. It was at Oregon. That's where you have Daystar now, Daystar Church. And so I went in very early in the morning from Ikorodu, where I used to live with my parents then. Walked up to him. In the morning, I was awed by his presence, very awed by his presence. And I said, "Good morning, sir. I like what you did for Ivan Maha. I would like you to help me become a singer as well." And he looked at me and said, "You just finished secondary school?" I said, "Yes." "So what makes you think singing is for the likes of you? Why don't you go get a job as a clerk or something?" And I was so demoralized. I was so demoralized. I cried all the way home. I was so angry. I didn't want to eat. I didn't want to talk to anybody and all that. And, years later, I had an album called Dreams, released on the Premier Music label, who had just metamorphosed from being Polygram Records then and became Premier Music. And then I had become a big name and become, so to speak, in the parlance, I'd become a star, I'd become a star actor. I'd done Silent Night. And I was very, very big at that time. And guess what? I went to the housewarming ceremony